I felt blood fill my mouth while his arms held me up behind the bars of their cage. I kept the collar buckled at my throat every night. It bought me a place at a new house, nothing more. I trained alone in the rain until my knuckles split. No cage would hold me a second time. Old debts followed me into the new house. Nobles still argued over what should be done with me. For once someone handed me something and asked for nothing back. Whether the boy behind those bars could ever trust the hand now offered to him was the question the rest of this story had to answer. Somewhere in the capital, the man who still held his handkerchief had not been named. The illegitimate daughter of a wealthy conglomerate family, that was me. Romantic, right? Especially for a girl. In a novel, I'd have been the heroine of some Cinderella story, stepping out of a car into rose petals and a stranger's open arms. Standing there with a photo of my mother in my hands, I heard the line that sealed it. "She will be living in this house from now on." My father introduced me to his sons with one line. "She may have a different mother, but she is still your younger sister. Take good care of her." Begging had never gotten me anywhere in that house, and somehow, life with my mother in one cramped room had been better than this. 3 strangers stood behind me as I walked away alone. That child was me. 6 years on, the gloom still hadn't lifted. Moving day came, and my father sent my own half-brother to walk me out. Of course he did. "Goddamn father, why put him in charge of moving me out?" I muttered. "He knows how much those sons of B** teachers harassed me. Might as well tell me to live on the streets." His air was all that mattered to my father. Alone in my new room, I flopped onto the bed and shouted, "Oh, whatever, I'm free now," until someone next door banged on the wall for quiet. My older half-brothers made my life hell at home and at school, and my father never once stepped in. Getting into a prestigious university was my way out from under all 3 of them. Standing in my new dorm room, I said it out loud. I did it. Grim days officially over. Work hard, make friends, actually be happy, that was the plan, until a new friend leaned in and asked, "Hey, did you guys finish it?" 2 of my new friends were deep in an argument I didn't understand yet. "I'm playing on hard mode now, but the affection score won't go up at all." One groaned. "You really think they designed it for you to play? You'll have to use money." The other shot back. Every phone at school had the same app open, Daughter of the Duke Love Project. "This looks so cheesy," I said. "How did a game with this name get trendy?" Curiosity won out even though I wasn't that interested. It was all anyone at school talked about, and it was my day off anyway. Normal mode first, I decided, and let the opening sequence roll. Ivan, an ordinary country girl about to turn 18, was actually the Duke's youngest daughter, missing for 6 years. She'd forgotten who she really was and lived as a commoner the whole time, right up until the day she returned to the Duke's household. The rules were simple enough: win over the male leads, raise their affection, and get rid of the meddling villainess along the way. Hit 100% with any one of them, and a proposal ended the story. "It's simple," I said. "Isn't it a little predictable? The art's nice, though." A lecture waited for me in the morning, so the plan was 1 quick session and an early night. 3 hours later, I was still staring at the screen. I jolted awake, harem mess. I hadn't slept at all. The game had hooked me on the art and the system both, exactly as advertised. Then it hit me. Watching Ivan forget her identity, live in poverty, and get folded into her father's rich family with 2 wary older brothers already waiting, felt like watching my own story. "My brothers, please wait for me." She called out to them. Our situations didn't line up yet, not even close. Some voice inside the game murmured, I wouldn't have acted that way normally. Oh, fascinating, right as a new mode lit up on the screen. Hard mode. Same story, opposite seat. Play as Penelope Eckhart, the Duke's fake daughter, planted in his house before his real one, Ivan, ever came home. Uggs again, I died again. The tablet hit the mattress harder than I meant to throw it. Earning a Villainess's favor was brutal enough on its own, and one wrong pick meant game over, a game over that was always, gruesomely, death. Penelope died on the Crown Prince's sword again. This goddamn game. She looked evil back in normal mode. In her shoes, she hadn't done anything wrong. Just survive once, just once. Something in me kept tapping the screen like it owed me something. This began as a hunt for the hidden ending. Somewhere, caring took over. What had the Villainess done wrong, besides getting cast in the bad role? In easy mode, Ivan won every heart without trying. In hard mode, Penelope begged for scraps of affection and still ended up dead.
If you feel like it's unfair, go tell father.
They said,
He doesn't even pay attention to you. No one cares if you starve or get bullied at school because
one of them smiled.
you aren't really our family.
She might as well have been a mirror. Those goddamn brothers, hers and mine both, wanted to watch me die again and again. Something in me swore, I will make sure. Isn't death? The thought didn't even finish before everything went black and I was falling. When I came to, I wasn't in my room anymore.
My lady, wake up.
A ceiling that wasn't mine filled my vision when I opened my eyes. Right, whatever happened last night, it hadn't been a dream. When I opened my eyes, I was here instead of my own bed, and I had become someone else entirely. All night I'd prayed this was a dream. It wasn't. Somehow I really had turned into the villainess of the game, Penelope Eckhart. Before I could process it, a maid burst in and screamed.
What is that? My arm hurts like it got struck by lightning.
Tiny marks freckled my skin, like something had bitten me in my sleep.
You are awake now.
The maid said. She looked exactly like Emily, the maid from the game, which raised an uglier question. Why had she been doing something to me while I slept?
I've prepared water for you to bathe in. Please go wash, my lady.
Emily said. Nothing came out when I tried to answer. Apparently the game only let me speak through dialogue choices. Something in my jaw locked tight. Cold water was a new low. Then I saw the petals in my hands and the marks beneath them.
Needles, this never showed up in the...
I gasped. I remembered exactly where Penelope died in the game, cut down by the crown prince, and that stain on my sleeve. I'd walked past it 100 times without recognizing it as a clue.
My lady, breakfast is ready.
The water I washed with was ice cold. I barely felt it, not after the house I grew up in.
Please have a seat, my lady. You must be hungry.
The food in front of me looked like slop, gray soup, stale bread, and Emily just watched, that little smirk on her face daring me to say something. The system threw a choice window in my face: flip the table and call the cook, force feed her instead, or just eat it myself. Every route ended the same. Tell the cook, and the maid runs to the Duke crying villain. The oldest brother locks me up with no water till I starve. Fight back, and the younger brother walks in at the worst second, shoves me off her, and I land on a stray fork, dead either way. This wasn't a game I could reset, so I picked up the spoon. My hand moved before I told it to. The spoon was already in my hand, and I shoved a mouthful of that gray mess in before I could stop myself.
This is food, you've got to be kidding me. This is disgusting swill.
Oh, I fought down the urge to gag. My body wouldn't stop. My hand kept shoveling it in on its own, like the game had decided this was a forced scene I had to sit through.
My lady, are you really?
How much of this do I have to eat to clear this event, I thought, and then I burped so loud it startled even me.
What is going on? Master Reynold.
I doubled over gagging. Reynold, a young master of the household, just stared confused as my mind dragged me back to that house.
Go tell father if you think it's unfair. You can't. He doesn't notice you. No one cares if you starve or get bullied at school. You were never really our family.
Food, school, life, neither one left me alone. Their mother died of illness before I was born. But they treated me, a child, like I was their dead mother's enemy. Because of those two, I got sick to my stomach so often it stopped even being remarkable. I'd already lived through more than enough of this, and here I was living it again, in a game world that wasn't even supposed to be real.
Hey, are you okay?
His face went sharp with alarm. Reynold looked past me at the plate, and his whole expression changed.
What is this?
Emily froze.
Hey, what did you just feed her? Master, it's just...
He didn't let her finish.
Even if you dare disrespect the Duke's household, there is a limit.
Nobody in this house had defended her before, not once. Reynold rounded on Emily like she was something he'd stepped in.
A mere maid gives this garbage to their mistress for food.
Emily stammered.
Master, this isn't what it looks like,
He cut her off cold.
Leave this room now.
Then he called for the butler and ordered him to drag her out.
Take this B*TCH and lock her up.
2 men hauled Emily out while she screamed his title over and over.
Master, master.
And he didn't even glance back. His hand caught mine instead, careful, steady.
Hey, are you okay?
Then the gentleness vanished.
Why did you just foolishly sit there and eat that? You should have flipped the table and screamed like you normally do.
I couldn't say the real reason out loud, that eating it was the only option that didn't end with a fork in my throat. Pink hair, the Duke's second son, that was who'd actually stopped this. But one maid couldn't carry all the blame. Every servant in that house moved like they shared one rotten heart, and the family had never once looked hard enough to notice. Reynolds lingered a beat too long. He started, then caught himself.
Fine.
His voice went flat again as he turned to leave.
There isn't a doctor in this estate who can make time for you anyway. Stuff your face with whatever you want. You can even die if you wish.
Cruel words from the man who just dragged someone out in chains, so I wouldn't have to eat like that again. Alone, I let the water run over my hands. Well, negative is still negative, I thought. No matter how I turned it, this life wasn't getting any easier. I stared at my own reflection a long moment, pink hair, turquoise eyes, a stranger's face wearing my thoughts.
Penelope Eckhart,
I said out loud, testing the name like it might answer back. She really was pretty. I'd thought that back when this was just a game on my phone. Waking up this gorgeous might have felt like a gift if I hadn't already fought for my own independence. Magenta hair, turquoise eyes, vicious despite the beauty. A villainess stays a villainess. A system window answered before I finished asking. In hard mode, this story followed her, Penelope Eckhart. A card blinked up, asking for her introduction. I tapped yes. The story unspooled fast. A nameless commoner girl, a widowed mother lost to sickness when she was 12, and a duke who adopted her only because her face echoed his missing daughters. But the pink hair and blue eyes of House Eckhart never showed up in her, and the duke stopped looking her way. Now she was branded the fake daughter, ignored by everyone.
He should have searched harder for his own daughter.
I thought,
why drag an innocent girl into this instead?
Reading her story felt like reading my own, the same poverty, the same mother lost too young, the same isolation once my family's interest curdled into contempt. I hadn't realized how alike we were back when this was just a game, but I had escaped mine, college, a cramped apartment that was still mine, real distance from those bastards. I told myself I was finally free. Then something violent slammed into that certainty, and all I had left was one word.
Why?
One day into this life, and I already understood exactly how this house treated her. If anyone here had an ounce of decency, they wouldn't dare feed the Duke's own adopted daughter needles and spoiled food, whoever she used to be. Penelope was 12 when the Duke took her in. 12. I had to wonder if the abuse started that young. Was this really what they meant by a villainess born of nothing? A 12-year-old can scream at adults who've already decided not to listen, and nothing changes. Something in me almost felt sorry for her before I caught myself. Who was I to pity anyone? I was Penelope now, and Penelope in this game could be killed by any of the male leads at literally any moment. That thought alone was enough to give me chills. I set the pen down, calm. If I was stuck being Penelope, I needed a way to actually live, not just survive one meal at a time. I organized what I knew, pulled up the game on my phone, and asked flat out what world I'd landed in. The system answered, hard mode of Daughter of the Duke, love project, made affection brutal to build and even easier to lose. Normal mode gave you a 30% head start. Hard mode gave me 0 and warned that some of these men would start in the negative before I'd even said a word to them. Negative affection meant one thing, a death ending waiting to happen. 5 male leads stood between me and staying alive. I opened the character files without hesitating. First up, Derek Eckhart. Derek Eckhart's face came up first, cold and unreadable. Then Reynolds Eckhart's, pink-haired and sharper around the eyes. The system laid it out plain. These two were Penelope's adoptive brothers, the actual sons of Duke Eckhart, the family that had taken her in and never once acted like it. Derek Eckhart's file opened with his own words first.
I am temporarily removing Eckhart from your name.
Cold, final, the system called him the eldest son and heir, uninterested in Penelope only because he was busy chasing the dukeship, but carrying real hatred for the girl who'd taken his sister's place. Then Reynolds' line loaded.
You should have pissed off when we asked nicely.
Reynolds' file called him belligerent, foul-mouthed, always finding new ways to get Penelope in trouble. Funny, same as the bastards back in my own family. In the normal version of this story, Derek and Reynolds were the easy wins, blood brothers to Yvonne, the actual heroine, so their arc was just becoming one happy family. Penelope shared no blood with either of them. This playthrough could go somewhere very different. I crossed both names off my list, no hope there. One of them literally started at negative 10% affection, which is the game basically telling you to give up before you begin. I could practically hear the joke version in my head. Hurry up, stuff your face with whatever you want, and die. Just imagining Reynolds' voice tacking on brother made me shiver. Next up, the Crown Prince. Next on my list was the Crown Prince of Aerka, a tyrant who treated people like dirt for reasons nobody explained. In the story where I never showed up, he meets sweet Ivan, gets redeemed, and executes the Villainess. Call that justice. In mine, there's no redemption, just his sword and Penelope dead on the ground. He wasn't a love interest. He was a grim reaper wearing a crown. He was the reason I kept dying. Every hard mode run, the Crown Prince was the one who finished it. Let's not get anywhere near that guy. I told myself, next candidate, Winter Verdandi, a marquis who hid behind the mask of an eccentric merchant, trading in secrets and rare objects. Back in the other version of this story, he's the one who exposed Ivan's true identity. Over in the other telling, Winter shielded Ivan from every scheme the Villainess cooked up, using intel nobody else had. Courteous, romantic, generous with everything he had, but there was something colder underneath.
What was he like in hard mode?
I wondered. Truth was, I'd been too busy dying to the Crown Prince and my brothers to find out. Still, more hope with him than the other three.
Eccles.
Last name on the list, quiet, guarded, a knight's apprentice serving House Eckhart. He wasn't always a servant, though. Before this nation crushed his homeland, he'd been nobility himself. Only after the Duke caught him handling a sword like that did Eccles end up under Duke Eckhart's roof. Eccles was the only love interest who never turned on the Villainess. That made him my safest bet, even though I hadn't actually met him yet in hard mode. Repeated deaths meant my information was thin, but two rules were absolute. Never let a single one of these men's feelings for me go negative, and land an ending with somebody before Penelope's coming-of-age ceremony. Here's the timeline in the story where I don't step in. It kicks off the day Ivan, the Duke's real daughter, comes home for Penelope's coming-of-age ceremony. My mode starts earlier, so I had a window. But if that ceremony arrived with no ending locked in, the story would slide back into normal mode, and every man who loved Ivan would turn on Penelope for it. Even now, one bad ending away from game over, and there's no coming back from that. All that waited on the other side, realistically, was death at the hands of one of these men.
That can't happen.
Not after everything I did to escape my own family, though. That house cost too much to just die inside somebody's mobile game.
I refuse to die.
Whatever it took, I would survive and get back to my own life without fail. My hand curled tight around the choker at my throat to seal the promise. Then Knuckles rapped on the door and pulled me out of my own head, pen still resting on the page. A maid stepped in. "My lady," she said, "the Duke seeks your presence." A stranger stood over me in a black formal suit, hair silver, glasses hiding whatever he actually felt. Never seen him before. Who was this guy? Just stared back blank, waiting for someone to explain why he mattered. The butler shoved into my room without a knock, ruder than any servant my old family kept. The game gave me three choices: scream and throw something, summon him back myself, or just say okay, and I was already sick of picking from menus like this. Then, a better idea, handle it myself.
Okay,
I said and got dressed. Lucky break. The Duke wanted to see me. This was my chance. The scene cut back to my old life before any of this. Ran straight into my father's office, waving my letter like proof of something.
"Father, look at this, I got accepted." Accepted.
He didn't even look up from his desk.
"So what?"
he said.
"I'm sure you didn't come here just to say that." "Move out,"
he said, then just as flatly.
"All right, make preparations."
That was it. It's finally coming to an end, I thought. Studying like mad to get into a good school was never about making my family proud. It was about getting out of that house. Hoping for love from people who treated me worse than a stray was just foolish. Back in the present, two maids caught my eye and looked away just as fast, whispering behind their hands. "Gotten looks like that plenty, long before I ever landed in this world." At the study door, the butler announced me. "I have brought Lady Penelope, your grace." From inside, flat and short, the Duke's voice.
"Come in."
The door creaked open on a study built to intimidate, tall windows burning white behind his desk.
"Come,"
he said again, and this time I actually stepped forward. His eyes cut into me ice blue, giving away nothing. Something about his stare snagged an old memory I couldn't place, just stood there in silence. Then right on cue, the choices rang in. Option 1, ask him why he'd called for me. More choices blinked up, get to the point or stare him down. Pick the first.
For what reason do you seek my presence?
I asked.
I heard there was trouble this morning.
He said 3 new options popped up, all bad. Remembered picking wrong once back when this was just a story. If Penelope's coloring matched his real daughter's, maybe I'd have earned some kindness. Couldn't choose, not from these 3. A pen clacked shut on his desk, and his face didn't soften one bit. Hand clenched in my lap. Please, I thought, just let this be the safe option. Just needed to survive one more crisis without dying over it.
Your grace need no attention.
I stammered, botching the line completely.
Penelope,
he said, and I froze.
It has already been 6 years since you entered this household.
6 years, my brain did the math. Penelope came into this house at 12, so 6 years put her at 18, the age these ceremonies came due. That left one question: how long before his real daughter came home? Then the Duke's voice cut through it.
It is not easy to step into this household,
he said.
Resources were never withheld from you, not even for your most ridiculous extravagances. I don't know what worth you've proven in 6 years at Eckhart,
he said. Then the game pinged 3 lines at me, and I picked the only one built to save me. Kneel, say it was all my fault. Relief hit. My mind slipped to the phone, to a menu of settings.
So many functions,
I thought.
Interesting, do I have to turn this on? It's hard enough as is. I'll turn it on later,
I remembered telling myself.
If I feel like it.
Then the memory cut out hard. My knees hit the floor in front of the Duke.
What are you doing right now?
He demanded. I didn't look up.
It is all my fault,
I said.
Father.
Groveling, I realized, was survival math in this world. The Duke just stared. Then it hit me. The kneel had worked. I could speak freely now, no forced choices left. Who knew freedom felt this good?
I am sorry for causing trouble while under probation,
I told him.
I caused a scandal, conducting myself improperly with a subordinate. I will reflect deeply for the rest of my probation.
The Duke said, watching me. In my head I kept score. The trouble this morning wasn't my fault. I was the victim. But that didn't matter against years of Penelope acting out. Stubbornness would cost me. Survival meant humility, so I clenched my fist and swallowed it.
I have behaved childishly and arrogantly these past years,
I said.
Forgive me this once, and I will prove my worth before then. So please forgive me this one time, Father.
I finished. Silence, then finally.
I have heard you,
he said.
Get up from the floor.
I rose on shaking legs.
And Eckhart's words are not taken lightly, Penelope.
He warned.
Don't waste the opportunity you've earned today. I won't,
I said, and meant it.
Thank you, Father,
I said, and stepped out. The door creaked shut behind me. My hand hit the handle, and I let out a breath I'd been holding. Phew. I'd gotten through it somehow. I don't know if kneeling was the smartest call, but it was enough, and his favor was never something I needed anyway. I should just be grateful I came out alive. I kept walking fast, still muttering the warning under my breath. Stay quiet, don't make a sound, live like you're already dead. Then footsteps stopped me cold. I knew this voice. A figure stepped into the light, a strange gauge glowing 0% overhead, like even the household kept score now.
Emily,
I said. She'd served this house nearly 10 years, loyal the whole time. So why did my stomach drop? Derek Eckhart, the Duke's ice-cold air, led with a fact dressed as an insult.
No one would serve as your maid, even for double pay. The one who tried finally quit today. Feel good about that.
Something in me snapped.
Reynold caused that mess.
I shot back.
That poison he left me nearly killed me. He's the one who said lock her up.
My hidden life gauge dropped straight to 0. Drop any further, I told myself, and I die. I tapped and choices flickered on. Admit we were close, say she deserved it, or just glare. Before I could choose, the whole menu died. This game is out to get me.
Do you not find my words worthy of an answer anymore?
Derek pressed. I just bowed.
I'm sorry for causing trouble, my lord.
I finished, and he blinked, surprised.
What?
He said, like the words didn't fit me. How many more times would I beg for things I never did? A memory surfaced that wasn't mine, a boy's voice snapping at their father.
I have a scratch because of that bitch.
I remembered sobbing an apology no one wanted, while my brothers laughed, calling me a vulgar rat. I said it to his face.
Like you've said, I haven't known my place all this time. I have pride too, and it feels filthy bowing this low.
Countless times before, I'd done exactly this to survive, and I did it again now.
It's my fault that maid never needed to be driven off. I begged father's forgiveness already.
Annoyingly, the real Penelope had been wicked. If groveling kept me alive, I'd grovel.
From now on, I'll make sure never to draw your attention again.
I told him, in this game world that wasn't even my reality, groveling was just another survival skill.
So please forgive me just once more.
I meant it too. I'd beg as much as he wanted, for as long as it took to stay alive.
Just one more time.
He said,
I'll let this go just once. Be warned, this is the last time I let your impudence slide.
I wanted to scream. Instead, I dipped my head.
Yes, I wouldn't dare in front of you.
That's done, I thought. Let's go back. I've been starving all morning thanks to that maid mess. Then my legs buckled under me. My body has no, He caught me before I hit the floor. Up close, his eyes were a deep, startling blue, and for a second neither of us moved.
I heard you ate rotten food.
He said,
Shouldn't a doctor be called?
Something in me went cold. He knew none of it was my fault, and he'd still stood there trying to pin the maid's dismissal on me anyway. If I hadn't begged for forgiveness, true to the game's script, he'd have drawn on me without mercy. His hand was already at his sword.
No, my lord,
I said, knocking it back before he could draw.
I just told you I wouldn't do anything to attract your attention.
Excuse me, I said and walked off. Staying alive meant keeping him calm enough that he'd never need to raise that sword again. Derek's voice went flat.
So,
he said, turning away.
Mind your own business, my lord,
I said, and the floor dropped away. I was small again, listening to two boys mock a girl who couldn't call her own father father.
Hey, did you know she can't even call our father father?
One said,
Isn't that so funny? How can she always call us her brothers then?
The other laughed. The memory cut to a boy's boots walking away, leaving that small me behind. Then it was Derek's back I saw, his coat sweeping down the hall, leaving me alone. A breath left me.
I'm still alive,
I said.
I guess it wasn't a waste of time to keep playing the game through the night.
I thought.
And I even remembered to call him my lord during that craziness.
Lying there, it clicked. Every time I'd called Derek my brother, his affection for me had dropped, and I died for it before without knowing why.
I died so many times because I didn't know that.
I thought.
He seems harder to read than my oldest brother back home. I'll never call Derek my brother again.
I should eat something. Then my eyes started closing. It wasn't noon yet. Too much had happened, I didn't want to think. Then the light shifted, and I was staring up at the estate at dusk. A voice demanded,
Why was this in your room?
I managed as Reynolds' voice cracked.
Answer rap B asterisk TCH. You stole it, didn't you?
Derek cut in.
Reynolds, watch your mouth.
My line of sight was lower. The voices sounded different.
And I didn't do it too.
Penelope finished. This was Penelope's dream. The Duke demanded.
Why was Ivan's necklace with you? You were forbidden from her room. Father, it's obvious she stole it.
Reynolds cut in.
I didn't steal it. I never did that.
She cried.
Then how did it end up in your drawer?
He pressed.
I've never entered that room.
Then a voice said, I saw it. The Duke said.
I've seen Lady Penelope near the 3rd floor for weeks. Ivan's door was open. You old.
Penelope shouted, but the household stared her down.
I didn't do it. I've never entered that room.
She wept. It was a lie. She only wanted to hide from the cruel maids.
Lock the 3rd floor and board up Ivan's room.
The Duke ordered. Yes, Your Grace. Penel answered.
And call the jewel merchant so Penelope can purchase her own jewelry.
The Duke added, already turning to leave.
Father,
I started, but he was gone, coat sweeping past. Then a whisper hit me from behind.
You should have pissed off when we asked nicely.
Something struck me.
Oh,
Derek looked down at me, cold as ice.
How dare you lie?
He said.
You vulgar thing.
After that day, I watched Penelope buy an obscene amount of jewelry from every merchant called to the estate. She ignored the servants completely and didn't even flinch when her adoptive brothers raged that she didn't know her place and was spoiled rotten. And after that day, in this memory that was somehow now mine too, she never called the Duke father again. Someone knocked at my door twice, sharp enough to drag me out of sleep.
Who?
I mumbled, and the door swung open before I answered. The butler stood there.
My lady, it is the butler.
He said,
I've come to you because of an urgent matter.
My mind jumped straight to the worst.
An urgent matter. Has someone slandered me again?
It's nothing much, he said.
You must select a new lady's maid before dinner.
A maid, that was the emergency. He'd barged into a noble girl's bedroom while she slept over scheduling, so I turned it on him.
State your name. Penel, my lady.
No surname.
Then what is my name?
He stammered.
Answer when I ask. You are Penelope Eckhart.
Exactly.
Without a surname,
I said.
Who dares walk into a noble's bedroom uninvited?
Then I let the real threat land.
I wonder what people would think if rumors like that got around.
His face went red.
My lady, how could you say that?
I didn't blink.
Must I explain everything until my throat is dry?
That broke him.
I'm sorry, my lady.
He kept groveling.
In my urgency, I was disrespectful. Please forgive me.
And I let him hang there before I cut him loose.
For now, butler, I find even your face offensive. Send someone else next time.
He tried to argue jurisdiction. I cut him off.
Yes or no, that's the only answer I want. Yes, I understand, my lady. Then leave, dinner won't be necessary.
The door creaked shut, and I finally breathed out.
Phew, I feel much better now.
Guilt crept in fast. Penelope answered to that man for 6 years, and I'd steamrolled him in one morning. He wouldn't run to the Duke over that. Still, I caught myself worrying about her reputation score, then hated myself for it. Wasn't that the exact wickedness everyone already expected from her? A stray memory surfaced, someone once telling me I was the Duke's daughter. A knock pulled me back. The head housekeeper stepped in.
Did you have a restful night?
My warning to the butler had worked. The door stayed shut without my say.
I've come about selecting your maid.
She said,
If you have someone in mind, tell me. What was the name of the girl who originally attended me?
Emily, I said.
Has she been dismissed? No, but...
The housekeeper hesitated.
Then what is she doing? Her pay is cut 3 months for neglecting you, and she's doing laundry now.
So the whole house already knew.
Have her continue as my maid. What? A new girl would need time to catch up. The old one should just stay. Go send for her now. However, the young master punished her himself for disrespecting you.
The housekeeper said,
Is it still impossible? Send for her. I'm uncomfortable without her. If you insist, I'll consult the Duke first.
No one ever listened to Penelope right away. It wasn't like this in normal mode where everyone hung on Ivan's every word. So what did they want? A wicked girl throwing things, or the same Penelope as always? The head housekeeper wanted to go straight to the Duke, so I told her I'd give him the account myself and ask him to forgive Emily.
There's no problem, is there?
Emily wasn't my only tormentor, but if the house learned its head housekeeper had covered for whoever abused the Duke's daughter, it would burn. As for my father, the butler said he'd already left for the palace before sunrise.
When he returns, I will bring Emily here immediately.
The head housekeeper said, bowing low.
Age has only made me more anxious, and it blinded me to your ladyship's generosity. Forgive me.
It's too late for the game's reputation system, I thought bitterly. Still, I made it plain, no one had ever feared the Duke's daughter, since framing her had always cost nothing. That was over now.
You may leave.
The housekeeper left, and I sat with that for a while. Whatever she reported to my father, whatever came back down through the house, I'd already decided not to flinch from it. Morning came anyway. A knock came at my door. It was Emily, her hands shaking on the tray she carried.
My lady, I have prepared your breakfast,
she said, barely getting the words out. The plate landed in front of me, and I just looked at her without answering yet. She cut into the meat for me, clinking the knife against the plate, until I set my own utensils down.
Emily, why yes, my lady. Give me the needle. What do you? The needle you prick me with every morning.
I said, holding up my hand. She gasped, then dropped to the floor.
My lady, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Did you not hear from the head housekeeper? Don't make me say the same thing twice. Hand it over.
I said. Emily's hands shook as she gave it up.
It's here.
She'd hidden it well. Penelope, I thought, how much did this hurt? All those mornings you woke to a torn arm nobody would even acknowledge.
Look closely, Emily.
I said. Yes, she answered. The needle went into my own skin before she could stop me.
Ugh, my lady.
Emily screamed and another cut opened under my hand.
Ugh, my lady, why are you doing this?
She sobbed.
My lady, there's no need to cry like that, Emily.
I said.
You're the one who made these wounds. What that eye's made. Right now there are 2.
I told her.
But it could become 3, 4, even 5.
She flinted.
Going forth, I'll keep letting you attend me and accept everything, the water, the clothing, the food. But the longer you serve me, the more wounds might show on this hand, and someone's bound to notice.
Who dare scorn the Eckhart name like that? Someone like my brother, Reynold.
Emily,
I said. I gripped Emily's chin and laid it out plain.
This all depends on how you behave.
Then I sent her back to work.
Get up now, your mistress has finished eating, so you must continue your duties, isn't that so?
She served the rest of my meal in silence, firing her fixed nothing. A maid who already knew her own leverage was worth more to me kept close. She knew exactly where her own interests sat, and she didn't have the backbone to fight it, not after what she'd already done to me. That kind of weakness was exactly what I liked. Then my door slammed open. My own heart dropped, an affection meter ticking down 3 points before he'd even spoken. He just stared.
What the hell are you doing?
He demanded, then rounded on Emily. She flinted.
Master.
My eyes caught the fork on the table and my stomach dropped. I needed every sharp thing gone before he started asking why my hand kept bleeding.
You may leave now, Emily. You're not going anywhere now.
I said, and Emily's footsteps faded down the hall as the door shut behind her. Alone with him, Reynold demanded.
Tell me, what's your motive behind this?
I almost laughed.
Ugh, Mr. Negative, I mean.
I trailed off and he pushed harder.
Do you ignore my words now, too?
What? I said.
You using that B*TCH still?
Reynold snapped. Watching him, I thought of my own second brother, the one who tormented me with that same 2-year gap between us.
Serves you right,
he said.
Who do you think you are, acting like it's unfair? You should have backed off when we asked nicely. It's not a big deal,
I said.
Don't concern yourself with such matters. Served their master rotten food.
I asked.
No,
Reynold said.
What I'm saying is that lowly thing didn't know her place. She scorned the Eckhart name. Insolent things like that are unnecessary. Plenty of people would be honored to work here even without pay.
Then he echoed what he'd once screamed at her.
How dare you, lowly thing, not know your place and harass the Duke's daughter?
I laughed. It was exactly what he used to say to Penelope in the game's default story, before any route split.
Is this a laughing matter?
Reynold snapped.
How contemptible did you seem, letting a maid do that while you sat there?
He wasn't wrong about that part.
I met with father regarding this,
he said.
I'm sure you did.
I answered.
I demanded that insolent thing be expelled immediately.
He finished.
Father and our eldest brother didn't want Emily expelled.
Father and Derek, he hadn't lied outright. He just bent Derek's threats about Emily's work experience into something that sounded like protection, banking that no one would check.
So instead of expelling her, she stays as your lady's maid?
He asked.
Yes, that's correct,
I said, his jaw clenched so hard I heard it. Emily's expulsion was never on the table.
What then? Why?
Begging on my knees was the answer. Forgiveness for causing trouble during my probation.
You begged? Did father tell you to do that? I told him I'd be careful not to cause another disturbance for the rest of my probation, so let this pass quietly.
Half my death odds vanished the moment I stayed quiet. Making this into another fight wasn't something I wanted.
Please, brother.
He just stood there and stared, then he snapped.
Do you have no pride? Even after being made a fool, you'll let it go quietly. Are you insane? I'd rather you scream and throw things like you used to. That's more like you. Wasn't this exactly what you expected the moment you planted that child's necklace in my room? You've treated me like this the whole time because this is what you wanted.
What? The butler, the housekeeper, Emily, they were just pieces. The one who started all of it was standing right in front of me.
I'm not trying to argue over that now. I've acted foolishly too all these years. But I'm tired of it now. Tired of it. My coming-of-age ceremony is close. I can't hold onto the Eckhart name forever. What do you mean? Are you planning on leaving the estate? Everything depends on father and my eldest brother, of course.
That single word landed heavier than any threat he'd thrown at me yet. Honestly, I didn't know what would happen to me either, whether an ending with one of them would send me home, or if I'd even last that long.
But you don't need to worry, Reynold. I'll never win you over. So you don't need to concern yourself with me. It's time for me to bathe. Will you leave?
Something shifted in his face, a look I'd never seen before. Steam and a towel, and then I was alone again with my thoughts. Genuinely, I'd thought he'd be the most hopeless case in this house. Good thing I'd turned the multiple choices off. Risky, sure, but if things kept going this way, I could live with it.
Oh, I guess.
Behind me, Reynold walked off into the mist, already gone from the moment. A royal invitation arrived at the estate, a banquet for the second prince's birthday, sealed and addressed to me. The wax seal read P. Eckhart. Then came the real message. It was tomorrow, and Derek Eckhart, my eldest brother, wanted me prepared.
The young lord, my eldest brother.
If Derek was the one giving the order, my probation had to be over. Getting ready fast wasn't optional. Part of me wanted to just stay in my room and skip the men in this house altogether. Dealing with them was never comfortable. Then it hit me.
Wait, I'm going to the royal palace.
That meant I might actually stand in front of the crown prince. The banquet was the guarantee the moment Callisto finally showed up. Then the vision hit, Penelope dying under his sword, a dead end flashing white behind my eyes.
No,
Emily burst in.
My lady, is my father coming tomorrow?
I asked.
The Duke has business tomorrow.
She said Derek would escort me instead, screwed, completely screwed.
Leave me alone for a moment.
I told her. Alone I ran the numbers. Feigning illness meant convincing Derek, and that would cost me ground I couldn't spare, but that wasn't the real problem. I never remembered anything about Callisto because I always died first. Alone with him, dead. One conversation, dead. 76 deaths and reset.
If I don't go, I die. If I go, I die. What kind of damned game is this?
Then an idea struck.
Oh.
The maids swarmed me with a dress I'd never worn, dangling earrings, arguing over up-dough versus half-up-dough.
My lady, what do you think of this one?
One asked, beaming, weren't these the same girls who were supposed to despise me? Somewhere between the necklace scheme and now, scorn had turned into styling advice, and I honestly didn't know what to do with the makeup brush pointed at my face. They were more excited than I was. Even with the ground I'd gained, this felt like a total flip in attitude. There was pleasure in a face done up this well, I'll admit, but pleasure wasn't the goal today.
Bring another dress, a darker shade, high at the neck. As few accessories as possible, same for everything else. Why, but my lady, this party is hosted by none other than the royal palace.
Emily finished, stunned I'd dressed down for that of all nights.
There's no need to make such an effort.
I said,
do as I say.
The maids drooped. I understood the confusion, but I wasn't going tonight to be looked at. What came back was a gown in dark green, high-necked, quiet.
Not completely satisfied.
I admitted.
But this should do.
The others filed out.
Emily may stay, the rest of you may leave.
I said, and the door clicked shut behind them.
Emily, will you bring me gloves to match this dress? My lady, you'll be wearing gloves too.
She asked.
Of course.
I said and bared the marks still faint on my fingers. She gasped.
If you've understood, go and get them.
Why, yes. His affection score had spiked because he wouldn't have to look at me tonight. I should have just told him I couldn't go.
Whatever, let's just get in the carriage.
Derek said, brushing past, then I froze. He wasn't heading for his own carriage. He stopped in front of mine instead, silent, and climbed in across from me. The door clunked shut. What was he doing? Derek just stared into space.
What the?
He muttered like even he couldn't believe what he'd just done. There was no time to wonder why. One question was already screaming louder than everything else, drowning out every death I'd ever counted.
Were we riding to the royal palace together?
Derek just climbed into my carriage, and from his own face I could tell this wasn't part of his plan either.
Why you will be riding with me? Do you have any complaints? No, of course not, but
nothing like this ever happened in the game.
You may ride a different carriage if you don't want to.
A slow sigh slipped out of me before I could stop it.
I don't not want to,
I admitted, quieter than I meant to.
I'm just happy.
Derek said nothing, just studied me with those pale, unreadable eyes. Typical, of course. He'd managed to be sweet and infuriating in the exact same breath. The carriage rattled to a stop and relief crashed over me. I could finally escape that suffocating carriage. Thank the stars it had been enchanted to move at double speed.
I'll just open the door myself.
But Derek was already outside, hand extended toward me.
Take my hand.
I stared at his outstretched hand, thinking, is he actually escorting me? Then it seemed to hit him too. He hadn't budged since I'd climbed into that carriage either.
What are you doing? Are you not going to get out? Oh,
I took his hand anyway.
Thank you,
I told him, and we walked toward the palace together. A herald announced us at the door, the young Lord Derek Eckhart and the Lady Penelope Eckhart of the Dukeship of Eckhart, and every head in the hall turned.
Don't do anything rash. Your probation only ended yesterday, need I remind you. Cause trouble again, and it won't end with you locked in your room this time. Yes, I will be careful.
He just grunted, unconvinced.
Of course,
he muttered, clearly not buying my promise. Inside, nobles swarmed him with questions about the Duke, but not one looked twice at me. My reputation as the wicked daughter had done its job.
I wasn't there to make friends anyway. I had an objective tonight, and if I was lucky, I'd walk out with exactly what I came for.
The crowd kept its distance, whispering behind their fans, is that the mad dog? She's quiet today. SHH, she'll bite if you touch her.
Ag, when the hell is this goddamn crown prince arriving?
Then a herald's voice cut through the hall, announcing Her Highness the Queen and the second prince, and gold light spilled through the doors as they entered. Nobles murmured about the newcomer's sparkling blonde hair, the mark of royalty, and for a second all I could think was, what? Then I noticed the Emperor's throne sitting empty, but that was supposed to be Callisto's seat for public events, since the Emperor never appeared in the game. So why was the second prince lounging there?
Everyone may rise now,
he said, easy as anything. I stood through the second prince's toast to his own birthday, only half listening as he thanked the room for coming.
Now then, let the banquet.
He started, and a slam ripped through the hall from the entrance before he could finish. Every head snapped around, mine included, and my stomach dropped waiting to see what had just happened. A boot flashed red through the doorway light, and before I could stop myself, the words tumbled out.
Th that.
Someone in the crowd recognized him first, and I caught myself mouthing the same name.
Callisto.
Every camera in the room swung off the Queen and the second prince to chase him instead. I heard someone behind me breathe that his hair looked spun from gold, and then the shutter caught him mid-stride. A tall figure in a fur-trimmed cape, back to the whole hall, walking toward us like he already owned the place. Screams broke out before he even reached the dais, people asking each other if that was blood, if he was really dragging a person across the floor. Callisto let the body drop with a thud that silenced the whole hall, blood spreading under his boots, and looked up smiling.
Happy birthday, little brother,
he said, and the second prince's face went white with fury.
See Callisto.
I said his name like it might undo what I'd just seen. The Queen rounded on him first.
Crown Prince, what is the meaning of this shocking behavior?
He only tilted his head.
What's so shocking about an older brother attending his little brother's birthday, mother?
She wasn't having it.
Where do you think you are? How dare someone with your title crash an event you weren't even invited to?
The Queen demanded. Callisto shrugged like it was obvious.
The messenger you sent with my invitation was a little too incompetent, so I taught him a lesson.
Then, almost gently,
You ought to pick more useful messengers, little brother.
The body hit the floor again with a wet, ugly sound, blood spreading across the marble. I screamed before I even meant to.
Ugh.
The second prince could barely get a word out, just a strangled groan, and Callisto looked straight at him.
If you're so fond of gifts like this from me, he said, send your messengers my way as often as you please.
He swept out in one motion, cape cracking through the air as the crowd flinched back, boots clicking away like nothing had happened. The needle marks on my arms were bad enough, but the game never had a scene like this.
Small disturbance, my foot.
A system alert chimed in my head right as I wondered if he and his brother even shared a mother. The moment I willed it, the world blinked and I landed somewhere new. Teleporting for real, just like the game, felt incredible under my own feet.
Guess I won't ever get lost.
I muttered, then I said it plain.
Okay, let's try to get killed.
My heels were killing me after all that walking. Something inside me kept sparking directions, so I followed it toward a fountain, alone, wondering who I was even supposed to meet. Then cold steel touched my throat and a voice said,
I was wondering what little rat was sneaking around here.
The blade came out of nowhere and stopped at my throat.
Isn't this the rabid dog of Eckhart?
He said that nickname was mine, earned from every noble I'd terrified. I knew that voice from the banquet hall. It was Callisto, the crown prince of Aerka.
You decided to follow me even after seeing that scene in the banquet hall.
He said, and it wasn't a question.
Have you gone mad? Are you asking for death?
Callisto asked, and I froze, sure this was it, that the crown prince was about to finish what the banquet started. So I did the only thing that made sense to me. I checked for the reset button. It wasn't there.
Seeing you have no answer, he said, perhaps it's time to say farewell to the Duke's family. Come on, reset.
I begged, clawing at nothing because there had to be a button. There always was. Callisto just smiled like he'd already won.
I will most gladly, he said, convey your final words to the Eckharts myself.
Panic clawed up my throat. Where the hell was the reset button? Still nothing, no button, no glow, no way out. Then the blade moved fast, and every plan I had went out the window.
Wait.
I screamed because begging felt better than dying with my mouth shut. The sword stopped a hair's width away.
Oh, do you suddenly feel compelled to speak?
Callisto asked, almost amused.
Yes, I'll talk.
I said fast before he changed his mind.
Well, go on,
he said, blade still resting on my skin.
Tayach the thing is.
I started and then my brain just stalled. What was I supposed to say?
Oh, I followed you here hoping you'd kill me.
No reset button meant no clean way out. Should I switch on the game's multiple choice prompts? I kept them off because they'd kept me alive this long.
I can hear your brain churning,
Callisto said.
I'm burning with anticipation. It had better be a reason I'd accept Lady Penelope.
A gauge blinked 0%.
I despise, he said, being interrupted.
All I managed was,
I like you.
I blurted out. Callisto's head snapped up.
What?
Screw it, I thought, and doubled down.
I'm in love with your highness. I came because I thought the commotion earlier must have upset you.
Then it hit me. I just called watching him butcher an assassin comfort.
Even Ivan in normal mode wouldn't say a line like this.
I thought, spiraling.
With a psychopath like this, I'm F***ed.
Callisto only stood there, trembling, still gripping me.
Hamlet,
he said at last.
The rabid dog of House Eckhart is in love with the barbarian of the royal family.
My mouth opened, nothing came out.
An excuse beyond my expectations,
he murmured.
I doubt you have ever seen me properly before.
Callisto said, blade still at my throat.
At most, we rubbed elbows at my homecoming banquet. It was love at first sight.
I blurted, true only if you counted the days since I'd landed in this game.
What do you like about me?
He asked. That is, I froze.
Your brilliant looks and... My face is my only charm.
He cut in, dry as ash.
How regretful.
I scrambled on.
And you're valiant, you wield a sword well. Too conventional,
he said.
Do you not have a reason more novel? I want to be compelled.
My hand shook against the fabric of my dress.
That is another.
He said nothing, he just watched me fail. Fine, he said, and the sword dropped away. I'm not completely satisfied, but I'll let you pass this time. But the next time our paths cross, you must give me a thorough explanation as to why you have come to like me. You may go then. I only nodded, too relieved to trust my voice. As he walked off, a small heart appeared, 2%. I talked a crown prince's blade down with nothing but flattery and a straight face. And the wildest part is the game never wrote me a line for that fight. I break down a broken survival trick like this every single day, so stick around for the next one. Callisto glanced back, cold amusement creeping in.
What? I said you may go. Do you want to play another game with my saber? And no.
I yelped and bolted. Alone at last, the panic caught up. There was no reset button. I'd begged for it and got nothing, absolutely nothing. I'd assumed dying here just meant waking up back home as a student, but what if dying here just meant dying, no waking up in my dorm? I couldn't die, not like this. 5 shadowed men rose in my mind, each one capable of ending me on a whim. How could I earn an ending with lunatics like that, when affection scores could crash without warning?
Why curry favor with men I barely know?
I sobbed.
In a world like this, and still maybe die.
I don't want to die. I cried and bolted straight into someone in the dark.
Oh, I am sorry.
I gasped, staggering. A calm, unreadable voice brushed the apology off. I barely registered him. I had to run before Callisto came looking and finished what his sword started. Something whipped past, close enough to sting, and my eyes went wide with fresh tears. Someone had my arm and I panicked, thrashing to break free.
Let go, let me go.
The stranger froze, confused, not angry.
My lady.
Then the vision hit again, a blade falling, my own voice screaming that I didn't want to die. Voices kept shouting my title until it stopped, and I was left staring, one tear sliding down. He asked again, softer this time.
Are you okay?
A heart icon blinked up at 0%, and I wondered if this was one of the men the game wanted me falling for. The tears won anyway.
SHH, calm yourself, I won't hurt you.
Winter Verdandi, a marquis and sorcerer, that's who he was. His hand was warm, and for once I let myself believe Callisto hadn't followed me. All I wanted was to get home, not linger there another second. I pulled myself together and lied that nothing happened.
Please pretend that this meeting never occurred. Excuse me.
He caught my sleeve.
Wait, my lady, you're bleeding and you're pale. Let's find a doctor. No, I have to get back to the banquet. Then at least take this, hold it to the wound. It will stop the bleeding.
The cloth sat in his hand a moment before I took it.
Thank you, I'll repay the favor. There's no need.
He watched me go like he had one more thing to say.
When we meet again, I hope the sadness has already left those beautiful eyes.
The vision blurred into someone wearing my face, smiling like she owned the moment.
Now this instant.
A swordsman's shadow cut through fog behind her and vanished before I could place it. Then real voices broke through, someone shouting for doctor, and I felt myself being lifted. When I came to, the only thought in my head was, is this? For a second I thought it was one of Penelope's nightmares bleeding into mine. No, this one was mine from before, from school. 2 boys stood over me in the dark, weighing whether beating me up was worth the risk, since even my own brother couldn't stand the sound of my name. A beggar, one sneered, had no business at their school. Home again, and I acted like nothing happened.
I'm home. You're back from school.
One of them looked up and went still.
Wait, stop right there. Why do you look like this? Did someone hit you? It's not a big deal, just tripped. Hey, look at me. What's with these bruises? Which bastard? Not a big deal, I said. How is this not a big deal? Since when do you care about me? It's not a big deal, I said.
The words came out sharper than I meant, and I didn't stop.
Just leave me alone. Have I ever asked this family to do anything for me? All this time I've stayed quiet, but why? Why do you keep?
The rest came out as a scream, and I walked off while the 3 of them watched.
I found every one of them and beat them nearly to death.
My brother said, "Thanks, Appa," was all I gave him back.
It's all your fault.
He shot back like fixing his own mess put me in his debt. That thought never finished. It cracked open into someone screaming that I still hadn't woken up.
That crazy bastard of a crown prince,
Reynold was still snarling when I stirred.
Shut up.
I mumbled and he froze.
Hey, are you Owa?
My vision wouldn't focus, some blurry stranger leaning over me until it clicked, just the second eldest son of a bitch. Then that old, worn-out hate crawled back into my head, uninvited.
I hate you.
The memory said, and it wouldn't let go.
I really hate you 100, no 1,000 times more than you hate me.
My half-brother had told me once, and standing over me now, Reynolds' voice landed the same blow.
I hate you the most.
2 different men, 2 different lives, saying the exact same thing to me. The dark finally let go, and morning came with it, birds chirping outside, sunlight on the sheets.
My ladies, are you okay now?
Emily asked.
Yes, I'm okay.
I told her.
That's such a relief. I was so anxious these past 4 days.
She said.
The Duke and the young masters were also very worried. Really?
I asked.
Of course, all the blood drained from the young lord's face when he came running with you in his arms.
Emily said.
My eldest brother.
I asked.
Yes.
The Duke had every famous doctor in the capital summoned, and Pennell, the butler, barely kept the second young master from sprinting to the royal palace. 90% exaggeration, probably, but still, the men of this house, reacting like that over me.
This is my first time seeing your ladyship so ill,
Emily said, voice catching.
I was so worried something would happen to you. You must have had a hard time, Emily.
I said.
A hard time? Please don't say that. I've been with your ladyship for years now.
This one forgetting she used to jab me with needles.
Oh, right, I'll hurry and tell the Duke you've recovered. Okay,
I said.
Bring melon sherbet on your way back.
I called after Emily. Alone, I let out a long sigh. I felt much better now, so why bandage me up like this? Anyone walking by would think I'd broken something. Well, nothing bad could come of it. I could milk being the ailing patient a while longer. Then the knock came.
My lady, it's Pennell, the butler. I'm sure I told him to get someone else if he had anything to say to me.
I muttered.
Emily, go find out what his business is. Yes, my lady.
She came back fast.
He says the Duke seeks your presence.
Father, I said, going still. Of course the butler himself would come for that. What was I about to hear, after already causing a commotion at the royal palace? The butler dropped back a step the moment we left my room. He used to walk ahead of me.
How could a mere servant dare walk before the mistress they serve?
Before I could answer, some bright-eyed steward swept in with a crumpled kitchen note, bowing like he'd rehearsed it, insisting he'd finally get to escort me properly. Something in this house had shifted, and nobody had warned me. The butler bowed like I was royalty.
You have awakened, my lady.
2 maids fussed over me next, asking if I felt better, but every servant I passed just stared, silent and unreadable. Why was everyone acting like this? Then a knock hit the study door.
Duke Eckhart, Lady Penelope has arrived. Have her come in,
he said, and the butler stepped aside.
Please go in, my lady.
Maybe the butler went to some etiquette boot camp while I wasn't looking, I thought, stepping into the study. Duke Eckhart stood by the window in that heavy military coat he wore for serious talks.
You're here,
he said.
You requested my presence.
Was as far as I got.
Sit.
He answered, then I lowered myself onto the floor across from him and waited, bracing for whatever came next.
The reason I called you here.
He began, but I cut in first.
Wait, Father, I would like to say something first.
Before he could stop me, I dropped into a bow.
I am sorry. After my probation, I raised another commotion at the royal banquet and besmirched the house's name. Wait.
He tried, nothing stopped me.
I dare not ask forgiveness. I will take any punishment happily, so. Enough. Penelope Eckhart,
he said, and my stomach lurched. Was the groveling act finally not going to land?
Yes, Father. Get up,
he said.
What? An Eckhart does not kneel in any circumstance. Do not lower yourself so carelessly, Penelope.
Then his voice filled the room.
As long as you are an Eckhart, no one may force you to your knees. Not even a royal. Get up this instant.
The room blurred as I shot to my feet.
Why, yes.
Was he always this intense?
Did I say something wrong?
Still bracing for the worst, I'd guessed wrong. Then his tone changed completely.
Penelope,
he said, quieter now.
I did not call you today to rebuke you.
That stopped me cold. This wasn't the conversation I'd prepared for.
Then what?
His gentler tone threw me off completely.
I called you to hear exactly what happened at the royal palace.
He said quiet was all I had.
Tell me what in the world happened between you and the crown prince.
In my head I saw it again, a drawn blade, and Callisto the crown prince with eyes gone cold.
It's just,
unsure how much to say, I started anyway.
I went out for air, got lost, and ran into the crown prince. He just wasn't in a good mood. So because he wasn't in a good mood, he decided to hack at your neck. No, I wouldn't call it hacking. Then why was he waving a blade at my daughter for doing nothing? That's barbaric.
He roared.
But I provoked him first. Is the wound serious? Oh, thankfully, no. Very good, a supporter. We can use your illness as an excuse to make the crown prince indebted to us. You're a worthy Eckhart, Penelope.
What? He kept going, calling Callisto a greenhorn who'd gotten too bold on hero worship, then reminded me the house of Eckhart stayed strictly neutral.
Of course, I said.
Truthfully, I hadn't known any of it. While Callisto fought the war, the queen, the second prince's mother, quietly pulled half the royal palace into her grip. The next emperor still wasn't decided, and I hadn't known his situation ran this deep. Now the assassin sent after him made sense.
As the affairs of state grow more chaotic, staying neutral won't be easy. This will become a useful card for us.
Then he cleared his throat. The outcome went well, so Duke Eckhart offered me a reward, anything I wanted.
A reward?
He offered new jewelers for the season, said I could throw out every dress I was bored of. So extravagant, I thought.
I'll think it over a bit and let you know.
The system pinged. My relationship with the Duke's household had improved, reputation up 5. Getting hurt by the crown prince paid off. Whether it was affection score or reputation points, positive was still positive. Keep going like this, I told myself. At home, Emily stepped up holding something out.
The day you fainted, you were holding this to your throat. Young Lord Eckhart told me to throw it away, but I kept it and washed it, just in case.
The handkerchief Winter Verdandi had given me. It had completely slipped my mind.
Thank you, Emily, for your care and thoughtfulness. Oh, thank you.
What? Nothing. Strange child, I thought. Then I decided I owed Winter Verdandi some courtesy in return, since I'd crossed paths with him again as one of my suitors.
Emily, could you tell the butler to call a jeweler tomorrow? A jeweler, is it for the festival next week? They say it'll be even grander this year.
Since Callisto had come back a war hero, Emily gasped, but I cut her off.
Don't even bring up the crown prince, just go call the butler.
Yes, I'll hurry back. Alone, I thought about the festival, about how in the game I'd met each suitor one at a time. Derek and Reynold first at the estate, then Callisto and Marquis Winter Verdandi at the palace, that left one. The last suitor was the knight Eccles. In the game, Penelope never actually got to enjoy that festival. She spent it dying at her brother's hands instead. From Penelope's side, I'd never played his route before. All I knew was that the Duke took him in sometime during the festival.
I'll find him before the Duke does, and bring him back myself.
Living through that whole ordeal with Callisto had taught me one thing. Reckless dying wasn't an option anymore, but I could still chase an ending fast and get out of this cursed world for good. That meant picking the most realistic guy and running up his affection score.
Eccles, I've chosen you.
I scanned the tree line past the rose garden and the archery range, hunting for a gap in the wall I could slip through once the festival started. The Duke's estate was so vast that finding it wasn't easy.
Emily, can you bring me some tea?
I asked, then dropped down under a tree to keep searching without looking suspicious. Under a tree, book open, I was waiting on Emily when something huge and dark leaned in and crunched straight through my bookmark.
Emily, my bookmark.
I said, not even looking up. No answer came. I turned and it wasn't Emily. It was Derek.
Do you feel better?
He asked.
Oh,
I said, caught off guard as he came closer holding a cup of tea. A heart flickered above his head, 8%, 2 points up from the 6 I'd seen last time. I started to rise, but he said,
No, you don't need to get up.
That's okay, I said. I was about to head in anyway. He held up the cup.
Do you not need this tea anymore? That is not what I was going to say,
he said, and I blinked, caught flat-footed.
Why do you call me Lord again?
That threw me more than the tea ever could. He caught himself and waved it off.
Never mind, it was a slip of the tongue.
Then he held something out toward me.
I came to give you this. This is my scarf.
I asked.
You cannot go out everywhere in a bandage,
he said.
Your reputation's already soiled. Don't cherish a gift from some random man. Consider the weight of your surname.
Winter's handkerchief came to mind immediately, the one I'd told Emily to throw out and secretly kept instead. How did he know a man had given me something? I'd braced for another lecture, not this.
Thank you,
I managed. The fabric slid soft between my fingers, expensive-looking, silky, not wrapped or boxed the way a proper gift would be. Somehow that made it feel more honest. I smiled up at him anyway.
I will treasure this, Lord Derek.
His eyes went wide, and something in his chest gave a visible thud. I found the gap near the drill hall, the same one the knights used to skip duty, after tripping over a rock like an idiot. The walls were otherwise impenetrable, and no guard would ever let the Duke's daughter walk out alone. Daylight gave me a slim shot at finding Eccles. A midnight slave auction gave me a real one, so I'd move in secret.
You better exceed all my expectations, Eccles,
I muttered.
Good,
I told myself, pleased with the plan. Then a voice cut through my thoughts.
What are you doing there?
I spun around, heart in my throat, and found a young man standing there with a sword slung over one shoulder, watching me without a word. Whoever he was, he'd caught me red-handed. I ran into Reynold by the drill hall.
Don't you know the drill hall is right here? I'm heading back now since I finished training,
he said, shirt still open. Nice face, nice body, wasted on someone this obnoxious. He caught me staring.
Is there something you want to say? Never mind. All right then, you continue on your way. I'll continue my walk. Hey, I'm warning you. About what?
Well, if he put it that way, of course I wanted to. Wanting to do it is human nature, isn't it? On the first night of the festival, I crouched in the dark, breathing hard, wrapped in a plain robe so nobody would look twice. I'd also collected the blank checks the Duke promised as my reward, though I felt a little guilty the real target wasn't a dress. Gold coins secured, all I had left to do was get down safely. It was only the second floor, and I'd eyeballed the drop every time I went in and out of the house. Definitely manageable, I told myself, tying my makeshift rope and lowering myself over the ledge into the dark garden below. The sheet ran out inches from the ground, too short. I panicked, cursing under my breath. Jumping meant noise, but the drop was way too high. My grip slipped. I gasped, dangling in the dark, and a voice cut through the night.
What the hells are you doing? Reynold,
I said. He said.
Why are you coming from there? Are you joking? My bedroom is under yours.
How was I supposed to know a tiny detail like that? He smirked.
I have nothing to say. Are you running away? Running away? I'm just going out for a moment. Must be a trend among young girls like you, scaling walls to go out.
Then the fabric tore. I dropped and Reynold lunged, catching my weight with a grunt.
Let go,
he said.
What? Let go and jump toward me. I'll catch you. How can I trust you? Fine, just keep hanging like that. Just don't drop me. Make sure you catch me.
He shot out a hand and caught mine, then swept me clean off the ledge. For one weightless second, the world tilted, all silk and hair and moonlight, before he pulled me against his chest.
I got you,
he said, and for a moment neither of us moved.
Put me down,
I muttered, still shaking. He set me on my feet like it was nothing, patted my head twice, and asked,
Where are you going? Just a what?
I started.
If you're...
He cut in and I braced myself, because whatever came next was going to be a problem. Reynolds said if I dodged him again, he'd tell my father, and getting caught by Derek would have been worse, so I gave in.
I'm going to the festival,
I admitted.
Why sneak out at night instead of during the day? I have my reasons. You don't even have a guard. Thank you, but mind your own business.
He caught up anyway.
Hey, you. I'm an adult soon. Even if something happens, I'll take responsibility.
Family's supposed to turn a blind eye at times like this.
I want to go too, then. That settles it. I'll guard you and keep it from father both. I won't tell him let's go together. But don't you hate me? Why are you doing this? Who said hate? You're the one who told me you hated me 100 times. No, 1,000. I say straight.
The whole street could have heard him.
Just say no then, why scream about it? When did I even say that to you? Anyway, take it or leave it. I'm following you whether you hate it or not.
A system window blinked open. A special event, explore the festival with Reynold, reward his affection and a secret item. I sighed and picked yes anyway.
Fine, let's go.
We slipped out together, rustling through the dark until a voice cut through the quiet. What are you two doing there? It was Derek, and my heart dropped straight to my stomach.
Where are you two going in the middle of the night?
I stammered.
Where? She wants to see the festival. See the festival? Yeah, I'm going as her guard, making sure she doesn't cause trouble.
Eccles wasn't even the problem anymore. What if I couldn't leave at all now?
A noble's guards have to come 2 to 1. I'll go too. What?
Another window popped up, same offer, different brother. Explore the festival with Derek, his affection ticking up, another secret item waiting.
Oh,
Was all I managed.
I'm so screwed, gah.
And just like that, I had 2 Eckhart brothers marching me off into the night. The festival stalls were going strong, vendors calling out sugar chips and festival coins, one hawking gifts for someone's lover.
Are you two sure you actually came for the festival? What do you mean, I'm taking it in? You never ask us to buy anything. You love stuff like that. You think I came here to have a picnic with you too?
But I had no idea where to start looking for Eccles. Then Reynolds' eyes caught on something across the way.
Hey, come here a second.
He pulled me toward a stall glittering with necklaces and rings.
Here, there are some nice things here.
The jeweler lit up at the sight of us, urging us to pick from treasures fresh in from the east.
Why are we here?
Someone answered before I could finish asking, and I doubted I'd like it. Reynolds caught me admiring the mask and turned suspicious.
Are you all right, dizzy maybe, or unsure where you are all of a sudden?
I dodged the question.
If you don't want to buy it for me, just say so.
He balked.
You really want this?
That's what I said. The vendor thanked him before he could argue. There's a reason for everything, I thought, and this one was mine. Banners lined the street, promising a parade big enough to swallow it whole.
Oh, that's going to bring a ton of people.
Reynolds said. What's that sound? I asked.
On the parade.
Derek said, watching the sky flare with color.
Must be starting.
I felt the crowd pressing in before I even saw the first float. Confetti burst overhead and the crowd swallowed me whole, shoving me sideways hard enough to knock the air out of me. A stranger's hand shot out of the crush, telling me to take it. I grabbed on without thinking.
Thank you.
I managed, my heart already hammering for reasons that had nothing to do with the parade. Whatever had hold of that hand didn't feel human anymore, something cold sliding up my arm like static.
Oh, Lord.
I gasped, and then light cracked open around me, yanking me straight out of the crowd. Reynolds' fingers grazed mine and missed.
Penelope.
He screamed, and the burst of light swallowed me before he could reach again. The light dropped me into some empty back street, utterly alone.
This is bad.
I muttered.
Where the heck am I?
Then a hand lunged out of the dark ahead of me, straining for something just out of reach, and when it pulled back, a small ring sat in my palm instead. I stared at it in silence. Then light flared, and all I managed was,
HM.
A system window blinked open right in front of me. A new episode has begun. Eccles, slave from a fallen kingdom. Would you like to be teleported to the slave auction? Yes or no, like it was nothing.
So,
I started.
So suddenly.
Night pressed in around me, and one thought cut through the panic. I'd figured tonight was already a wash thanks to the brothers tailing me. I picked yes, and honestly, it could have gone worse.
Things ended up working out. It's good, I guess.
I muttered, pulling my hood low. Sure enough, every single person filing through that doorway kept their face hidden, exactly the way I'd hoped.
Good.
I whispered and stepped up to the entrance myself. Please show me your invitation, the guard said.
Invitation?
I hadn't planned that far ahead.
I need an invitation.
I blurted. Strict members-only system, the guard said. I cannot let you pass without one.
Then next,
I turned to leave. Wait a moment. He'd spotted the ring in my palm. This rose crest. His whole face changed.
I forgot my invitation. I assumed this would suffice.
I did not recognize such nobility, he stammered. Please come in. The gate rattled open. He didn't ask a single question, just welcomed me and said he'd walk me down himself. The stairs dropped into the dark, swallowing the light behind us step by step. A door creaked open, and past it the room just kept unfolding, wider and deeper than anything that cramped little entrance should have hidden. My chest went tight. Whatever this place was, it was enormous. A man in a cracked white mask and a top hat threw his arms wide under the lights.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's event is finally beginning.
He called, then swept a hand toward the goods lined up behind him.
If there is anything to your pleasing, speak up and claim it.
Bid snapped back fast and cold.
80 gold.
Then higher.
Sold.
The bidding kept climbing, chains clinking every time a body was walked off stage. Then the mask turned serious.
Now, honored guests, you have long awaited this moment,
he said, voice dropping like he was savoring it.
The last item of today's event.
Shackles clicked into the light.
From a savage nation that met its unfortunate end to our empire of Aerka, a slave that has crossed over from Delman.
A boy stood there stripped to the waist, a choker locked around his throat, gold hair hanging over his eyes.
I introduce to you, Eccles,
the auctioneer announced, and something cold twisted low in my gut, the fifth love interest.
Now all of you must have heard the rumors about this.
He went on, grinning wider.
So I have prepared a... Please sit back and watch.
The announcement rang out and something slid open with a heavy clunk. Whatever was inside, it barreled forward so fast the air seemed to tear. What was that? What were they doing to him? Then the growl came, low and wet, and I saw teeth. Eccles just stood there, eyes narrowing, already reading the room like he'd survived this before. 3 of them circled him, black-furred and starving-looking, blood already crusted on one's muzzle from whoever came before him. The crowd around me murmured, confused, scared for entertainment's sake. A wooden sword was all he'd been given, no shield. His hands and feet were still shackled. They'd set him up to get ripped apart. That was the plan, and everyone around me knew it. What was I supposed to do? If he died right there, should I scream out that I'd buy him before it was too late? A wolf's jaws snapped shut inches from his throat. His eyes went sharp, his grip tightened on the sword, and he moved. One of them yelped and staggered back, blood streaking off the wood in his hand. He dodged something with nothing but a training sword and 2 shackled legs, and I couldn't look away. He avoided every attack like he'd trained for exactly this. Then he turned, drove the blade home, and the last one dropped. The dust hadn't settled before I heard him breathing, ragged, dragged out of a body that shouldn't have still been upright. Blood ran past the collar at his throat. Then the auctioneer swept back into the light, clapping like he'd staged a miracle.
Thank you, noble ladies and gentlemen,
he called out.
Slave Eccles.
The crowd roared its approval, and it turned my stomach. He wasn't finished yet. Chains and all, he lunged at the men holding him, and one shouted a warning before the collar answered for him first. It cracked, sparked, and dropped him where he stood. The auctioneer just laughed.
Phew, haha, it seems as if he's overflowing with energy.
They shackled him tight and called it safety, then opened the bidding low.
Shall we start with, say, an easy 500,000 gold coins?
That was his opening line. It climbed fast, 600,000, 900,000, a full million, and I felt it before I understood it. The price had broken loose from every batch before his. It doubled, then doubled again. 9 million shouted from the floor. Someone in the crowd shouted 10 million, certain the sale was his. He began the countdown.
If there's no one else, we will go with 10 million, going once, going twice.
That was when I spoke.
100 million.
Silence hit first, then whispers, and the number left his mouth in disbelief.
100.
Even the auctioneer needed a second before he caught himself and roared it out.
100 million. We have 100 million gold. Is there anybody else?
Nobody answered, and I already knew nobody would. 10 times the final bid, decided the moment I walked in. This was never about the gold, only about staying alive.
100 million sold.
I will pay it happily, I said. A door creaked open, and I was led down a corridor lit only by the stone in my hand. Sound reached me before sight did, ch-whack, over and over. Even after the sale, they kept whipping him, and his face was worse than the arena had left it. Oh my goodness. Did they treat him like this every day he was here? Thank God I'd come before the story could lock into place.
I have a blank check.
I told the auctioneer.
Bill it to Duke Eckhart. This button proves my identity. Oh, of course.
A ring dropped into my palm next.
Please take this, my lady. What is this? A token. It marks you as his owner.
The choker on that slave's neck holds a paralyzing spell. Press this ring and a current comes off that marble. You'll have him under control instantly. It's what we used on stage, but be careful, too much use could end his life.
His life,
I repeated.
He's dangerous for someone your size. Wear it always, perhaps even now.
Then he pressed it and Eccles screamed. I rounded the corner backstage and the sight stopped me flat.
What?
It tore out of me before I could catch it. There, behind the bars of their cage, Eccles knelt holding up another chained boy who coughed blood straight into his hand. Hey, get him under control now. A guard screamed and staff slammed something onto his ankle. It sparked and Eccles convulsed against the bars. That slave bastard, one of them spat, backing off. My voice came out shakier than I wanted.
This isn't good. Eccles could be beaten to death. Though I don't like using this.
The ring bit first before the guards could do any worse. I'd twisted it myself. He choked.
Pug, ugh.
And when still, I stepped closer anyway. My lady, it's dangerous to get close. Someone warned. Eccles lifted his head and his eyes went wide. Despite the warning, I crouched down in front of him. A pale system window blinked into the air between us, a small broken heart reading 0%, his affection meter starting from nothing. His collar was cold under my fingers when I reached him.
Eccles,
I said. He only stared, silent, tears caught in his lashes.
Look at me, Eccles. This is the face of your master.
I told him.
Who paid 100 million gold for you.
He didn't answer, just kept watching me like he was waiting for the catch.
I didn't pay such an extravagant price for you because I'm rotting in money.
I added flat so he'd understand this wasn't charity.
Not even an insane noble pays a castle's price for a slave from a fallen kingdom.
I said.
What's left if you escape? You don't even have a country to run to.
His glare cut sharp.
I despise those who don't know their place. I saw potential in you, that's all this is. Prove your worth, or I send you back without hesitation. If you understand, nod your head, we need to get home.
I pressed and he gave me nothing but silence, so I turned to the attendant instead.
Remove the shackles around Eccles's ankles.
What but my lady, this item, the attendant balked.
Leave the choker and handcuffs and take off the gag. I'll handle him myself.
The ankle chains hit the floor and Eccles just stood there, quiet, watching me.
And you,
I said to the auctioneer's man.
Strip down to your underclothes and hand it over to him.
What, that's two, he spluttered, but I was already dropping coins into his hand to shut him up. Eccles dressed in borrowed clothes. We walked out past their bows. Please travel safely, my lady. And a door creaked open onto the night. I'd left the party doors long behind me, with no idea yet how to find my way back to the Duke's estate from wherever the night had left me. Footsteps started trailing mine, deliberate and unhurried, until a man stepped straight out of the dark.
Hello, I think we saw each other in the event hall. I don't think so.
Cly was the noble who'd wanted Eccles for himself back at the auction.
I would like you to hand over that slave to me,
he said.
Eccles, stand back.
He weighed it fast, half scared, half wondering if guarding me was worth something.
Did you forget I paid 100 million gold?
Cly snapped and his assistant admitted he hadn't brought it. His assistant offered 10 million now, the rest later.
990 million.
I countered.
What? From the start, I'd meant to pay 10 times the final bid, no conditions. Call 100 million, I call 1 billion, and that's the price now. What kind of contriving is this? Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? You insolent bitch.
His hand came at my face, and before it could land, something cut the air between us. Eccles had moved. The crack came before I understood what it meant. His wrist twisted wrong in Eccles's grip.
Rioleg.
The scream that tore out of him was raw and ugly.
Og my wrist.
Cly howled, then turned on his own men.
Kill them both.
His fist went white in Eccles's grip, bone grinding under bone.
Please stand back.
Eccles told me quiet like it wasn't a request. Blood already streaked down from a cut over his eye. Then it was just sound, impact after impact, until the alley went quiet.
Ugh, the stench of blood.
It hit thick and copper in the cold air before my eyes even caught up. Those were the people I'd dared to threaten. The smell of death, it turned out, was frightening.
I'm scared.
That much at least was true, even if only to myself. He stood alone in the wreckage, broken spears scattered around his boots, blood dripping slow off the cuff at his wrist. One of Clyde's men caught sight of him and just folded, backing away with a strangled sound before he even hit the ground. Still I went to him, gasping, footsteps loud in the sudden quiet. He dropped to one knee in front of me, like the flower petals in the air were staged just for this.
Master, he said. I finished every one of them. Please praise me, Master.
Blood still marked his mouth when he looked up at me, waiting.
Yes, my choice.
Wasn't wrong, I told myself again. Behind my eyes, a heart-shaped gauge crept up to 18%. I looked down at the ring still locked around Eccles's finger, the same one paired to his collar, still capable of killing him if anyone ever turned it up too high. He didn't say a word, neither did I. Then a voice cracked the dark, calling out for me.
Lady Penelope, where?
Pennell gasped, and the butler rounded on me.
Where in the world was your ladyship last night?
Truth was, I'd gotten lost walking back and let the sun catch me.
Does father know too?
I asked.
Of course,
the butler said.
The young masters took every night in search till dawn, and slave merchants turned up the moment it got light, so the house is a mess. Who is that?
The butler asked, eyeing the cloaked stranger like he might bite.
This is Eccles, I said. He stays in the estate starting today. Give him a proper room and let him rest.
Pennell went pale.
Impossible, my lady.
Pennell, I said.
It seems my word's gone worthless the moment I turn my back, so take care of him and see that it's done properly. Yes, my lady.
The butler said, it's a relief, I thought, one less person to argue with tonight, since he never won an argument against me. We turned to go. The gate creaked open behind us.
Hey, you.
A voice barked. Reynolds stood in the doorway.
Penelope,
he shouted. My stomach sank.
Father Reynolds.
I managed and past him. The Duke's face was dark.
Follow me to my study this instant.
The Duke said flat, how do I even beg my way out of this one, when Reynolds was already shoving in close enough that I could smell the fight coming.
And who is this pauper?
He sneered. Eccles said nothing.
Follow the butler, Eccles.
The Duke said.
Follow.
Reynolds shouted from the stairs.
How can you let him in? There's no time, be good.
I told Eccles quickly, and he just watched me go without a word. Then I left him standing alone in the dark, walking off toward whatever room they'd found him, and I hated how small that made him look. Inside, my father's study swallowed the light.
Penelope Eckhart,
he said.
Yes, father,
I answered.
Explain the meaning of all of this.
Silence was all I had for him right then, the two of us frozen while I ran through every version of the truth and how much of it I could survive telling. None of it sounded good.
Sorry for going out without a word,
I said.
That's something I hear far too often lately.
My father said.
And every single time it turns out to be nothing but talk, no matter how sincerely you say it.
Before I could finish swearing I wouldn't tarnish the house's name, his hand slammed the desk.
That's not what I stayed up for. Get to the point, Penelope Eckhart. Why did you leave the estate without permission?
My father snapped before I'd even sat.
What in heaven's name happened last night?
I stayed silent too long.
I wanted to see the festival at night.
I admitted.
You could have simply gotten permission. I thought you would not allow it. It has not been long since my recovery. I thought you'd call it risky.
He didn't know that the real risk was whatever trouble I might stir up next.
So,
he said,
I was going to leave in secret, but my brothers caught me and agreed to escort me instead of waking a sleeping knight over it. Then I got swept up in a crowd, and I nearly stumbled into trouble with a malicious noble. What, name them, what scoundrel would dare? I was too rattled to catch his name. I only heard Cly.
I said,
Cly, you say?
My father repeated.
Anyway, Eccles happened to be passing by and helped me. Eccles, the rascal you brought here. Yes, he was fleeing the slave auction, a noble from the fallen kingdom of Delman. The auctioneers caught up to him because he'd helped me, but I had the check you gave me. So I bought him.
I finished, he'd saved my life, that was enough.
Penelope,
My father said,
I did not give you that check to buy a slave. He nearly got dragged back because of me. Even beasts know gratitude. Bearing the name Eckhart, how could I not?
He walked out, a door slammed.
You where?
Derek demanded.
Where the hell were you? Brother, father asked for me. There is not a single part of the capital we didn't search.
Derek snapped.
Every alleyway, even the red light district, just in case you were kidnapped.
I froze. What was that look on his face?
Penelope,
He called out, reaching for me. He was supposed to despise me. Wasn't that why he hated being called brother? And I hadn't spared him a single thought all night.
Derek,
Our father said sharply, and the reaching hand dropped away.
what is the meaning of this insolence in the middle of my audience?
Derek said nothing, jaw tight beside me.
I'm sorry, father.
I said quickly before he could answer for himself. Someone at the door blinked, startled. He's staying.
I have heard your story, Penelope.
My father said.
But after you bought him, why bring him here instead of freeing him? I would like you to take Eccles in as an apprentice knight.
I said.
A knight of Eckhart, his talent is remarkable. That's why he costs so much, and he'll be of great use.
Derek cut in.
Teach him swordsmanship. You have no sense of bounds. Countless nobles would be honored to run errands for House Eckhart.
Derek pressed.
And you teach swordsmanship to a slave.
I switched tactics.
Then let him be my personal guard. Personal guard.
My father said.
I'm stuck in the estate under probation. I can't go without one. There are 20,000 knights here, and none of them think much of my reputation. Isn't that why you haven't assigned me one?
Derek went quiet, so I pushed while I had the room.
I do not want to leave my safety to those with no inclination to protect me.
I said and floated the threat I actually meant.
What do you mean by that, Penelope? Leave the estate?
He snapped exactly as I'd hoped.
This is for my safety. Please at least allow me to choose my own guard. Please, father, brother.
The Duke ran the political math in silence.
They won't be able to oppose it.
He decided, since House Eckhart wasn't blameless for yesterday's mess either, whether I actually had a guard mattered less than what I really wanted.
I just need an excuse to let Eccles stay here by my side.
Eccles just watched me and said nothing.
For now.
The Duke waved off my near disaster.
All right, you should go up and rest since you would have been surprised. I'll send a doctor when you wake up.
He said.
Thank you, father.
I answered, sweet as anything, while inside I was already celebrating. It worked. Then Derek planted himself in the hallway before I'd even rounded the corner.
Stay back, I have something to say to you.
Derek flinched, which only annoyed me more.
What? We already finished talking. What's his problem?
I waved him off, glad the whole mess seemed done. Then the system flagged the festival quest with Derek as failed anyway.
Am I crazy? No. What kind of garbage system fails me after all that?
I muttered.
Whatever, it rose 3% anyway.
The safest plan, I decided, was to just avoid my brothers altogether. Then I heard someone corner Eccles on the stairs before I even reached them.
Hey you, don't you know how to talk? Where did you come from?
I rounded the corner to find him gripped by the collar.
What are you doing? Hey, good timing. What's up with this bastard?
Both their favor bars rose as they watched me handle it.
Eccles, come here.
I said. He blinked like he couldn't believe I'd actually said it.
Didn't you hear from Emily? He's my personal guard now. Personal guard? You're using this slave bastard as your guard.
Yes.
Did you eat something weird while you ran off? Decide to torch your reputation? I didn't run away from home.
I'd had enough for one conversation.
I'm tired. We'll talk later.
I turned to go, but a hand shot out to stop me.
Where are you going? I haven't finished ta.
His voice died when he actually looked at Eccles and saw the collar around his throat.
What is this?
Eccles just stood there and said nothing.
Eccles.
Derek cut Reynolds off.
Enough.
I couldn't throw Eccles back out right after bringing him in, so I held my ground.
Hey, why do you even need a guard? You're always stuck in your room anyway. I need one now. What if yesterday happens again? Then use one of the guard bastards from outside. Apparently 10 books could be filled with the insults they already throw at my name.
Reynold got the truth whether he wanted it or not.
I don't need guards who don't know how to treat their master.
I told him.
I was lucky enough this time, Reynold, but if Eccles hadn't been there yesterday, I would have been found as a corpse in some alleyway.
He didn't say a word back. The shock on his face said it for him. Eccles turned and walked off.
Sorry for worrying you,
he said, not looking back. I tried calling out to Derek.
Brother,
but the system cut in first. The quest to visit the festival with Reynold had failed. Try again for his favor and a secret item. I picked no. Footsteps closed in behind me before I'd gotten far. I stopped mid-stride and turned.
Till where are you planning to follow me?
I asked. Eccles hesitated.
But
was all he managed, like he wasn't sure I'd want to hear the rest.
You told me to prove my worth,
Eccles said, and that stopped me cold. Was he really willing to trail me all the way to my room just to dodge getting shipped back to the auction house? I said nothing, just studied the collar at his throat. He'd been a perfectly polite knight in normal mode, but untamed like this, he was something else. Oh, was that too blunt? I tried to soften it.
I trust you won't disappoint me,
I said.
You won't, right?
His eyes met mine and sharpened. A heart-shaped gauge blinked into view over his head. His favor toward me had climbed to 20%. Normal mode starts everyone's favor at 30%. Hard mode starts me at 0, sometimes negative, the system made clear. 20 now, and at this rate I wondered if I'd ever reach the ending.
Emily, guide Eccles to the place the head butler prepared.
I said.
Yes, my lady.
Eccles held my eye.
I will do my best to earn compliments.
My fear of Eccles hadn't gone anywhere, not really. But the thought that I'd made the right call, that I might actually escape this place because he was the one who'd saved me, that was what kept me still when he took my hand.
I'm happy, master,
he said, pressing his lips to it. Willingly, I let him. In the end, the Duke and Derek didn't kick Eccles out. They just left me cooped up in my own room instead, probation as their excuse. Emily brought me word, though. The Duke was combing the empire for any aristocrat named Cly, and the standards for knights had tightened overnight. I never used to touch food this salty. Chili, fried chicken dripping in sauce, the kind of thing I'd have turned my nose up at a season ago. Now I licked my thumb clean without even noticing.
You never even looked at such salty foods before, but now you're even looking for chili,
she said.
They say your tastes change as you get older.
I offered.
That's true,
she said, already reaching for the bones. Emily kept slicing without a word, precise little cuts, while I just watched her work. Then a thought showed up uninvited. Should I ask for garlic sauce next time? I caught myself.
I'm full now,
I said.
Would you like some melon sherbet?
She asked. I didn't answer that one either.
My lady, there's not long left till the founding day,
Emily said, then added.
Oh, mister, Fennel told me to relay a message. The order you placed before has been delivered. Order?
I asked.
You called a jeweler before the festival.
A shadow slipped past in the hallway and I let it go. Right, I still needed to think through this route.
Should I bring it?
Yes.
Emily, I have a job for someone,
I said.
Do you know anyone who deals in information at the high circles?
She hesitated.
A job.
Then her roommate came up.
She might know something. She used to work up there. Her name is Lena. Where is she now? But if it's an errand, I can do it better, my lady.
She can't keep her mouth shut, I thought. Clumsy, too.
All right, I'll trust you,
I said.
You've never failed a task and you're quick-witted. My lady, I won't disappoint you. You better not.
I held up the needles between us.
Act carefully. This is a solemn chance to decide whether you stay or get kicked out. Yes, my lady. While your probation lasts, visit a private investigator after your morning chores. I need them to find someone. Someone? I'll write the details on a note, show that to the information brokers, and pay them with my jewels, whatever it costs.
I said.
I need a real investigator, someone who trades in rare information.
Yes, leave it to me. Winter's network was the biggest, the one that found Ivan after she lost her memories and disappeared into a commoner's life.
The person behind the mask was you, Marquis.
She'd asked once.
The benefactor who found my real family.
I'd complained about easy mode, and now I regretted it. The handkerchief's owner already had a name in my head, Vintek, not just some minor noble. He secretly held real power of his own. Unlike Ivan, I wouldn't go digging for him myself.
I'll make them notice me,
I said. Emily froze in the doorway. Had Lady Penelope finally found someone? A knock came at the door.
My lady, this is Fennel.
The butler said.
The butler,
I murmured, tapping my fingers on the armrest. Good timing, I thought.
Come in.
Fennel stepped inside.
Excuse me, Lady Penelope. An invitation has arrived from the Imperial Palace. The Imperial Palace. Yes, a small banquet to mark the end of Founding Day.
But why me, I wondered, when a bigger banquet had just been held. Fennel's next words landed like ice down my spine.
Is said to have been planned by the Crown Prince himself.
Emily and I both went stone still, snow practically crunching between us.
What did my father say?
I managed. Fennel hesitated.
Actually, the Duke doesn't know about this yet, since the invitation was given only to you.
That guy is crazy, I said.
He called me on purpose.
His voice from our last meeting still rang in my head.
Next time we meet, you'll explain just how you fell in love with me.
So this was the scenario if I actually survived him? Emily asked.
About the invite, what will you do, my lady?
Swooning was easier than answering. I'm sick. The butler blinked.
Oh.
I decided to spread rumors of my own sickness, staying locked inside until the prince got wind of it. While I plotted indoors, Eccles was already out in the rain doing my dirty work, collar at his throat soaked through.
So it went like this,
he reported.
At first everyone looked uninterested, but when they saw the jewelry, the look in their eyes changed. Oh, and lastly,
Eccles continued,
I saw someone dressed strangely, the only one who looked different from the rest, a man wearing a white rabbit mask.
Good, I thought. Looks like he took the bait.
Thank you,
I told him.
It must have been hard doing this in the rain. Get some rest.
All right, he said.
I'll return by evening, my lady.
The window shut. I was alone again.
It's been raining the whole day long,
I thought, staring past the glass. My reflection blurred back into a memory I hadn't asked for. When I was small, I used to be so jealous of my friends whose mothers came to walk them home under umbrellas. I had to walk home alone every time, ashamed of being the girl who didn't have a mother. Ever since she died, that shame never left. Meanwhile, the driver held an umbrella over my half-brother.
Young master, let's take the car home,
he said, then noticed me.
Miss, I never heard it would rain today. You're soaked.
Someone else just muttered.
What's that girl doing? Who knows, she can take care of herself. Come on, let's go.
The car pulled away and I stood alone in the rain, soaked to the bone.
How pathetic.
Muttering it was enough to shake the memory loose.
Oh, snap out of it.
My own cheeks caught the slap.
This isn't the time to be leisurely spacing out. You have to ace this damned game,
I told myself, straightening the flower pinned at my collar. Clearing my head was the whole point of stepping outside, but somehow, walking aimlessly, I ended up right by the training grounds. This place is. The vine-covered wall answered the thought before I finished it. Talking to my brothers was the last thing I wanted, not today of all days. I ducked toward the far end of the estate, muttering to myself.
Let's go somewhere else. How am I even supposed to talk to them?
Then a sound cut through the rain, a clean slash of wood or steel, hard to place.
There's someone training even in this rain.
Rumor said someone had been pushing harder every day. Could it be Eccles? I went to look. I followed the sound past the trees, umbrella dripping, until I found him. His back was turned, shirtless in that downpour, striped with scars I hadn't noticed before. My breath caught before I even finished the thought. Water ran down old wounds like they'd never been given the chance to close, and he just kept swinging. I'd caught a glimpse of those wounds back at the slave auction, but seeing him push himself like this in freezing rain, that guy was relentless. He must be cold, I thought, watching him raise the wooden sword again and again, like the weather wasn't even happening to him. His swing carried him around before he even registered I was there, and the tip of that wooden blade stopped a breath from my throat. Neither of us moved. He breathed, chest heaving, rain running off him like he'd fought something for hours. Then his eyes found my face.
My lady,
He managed. Was all I got out.
it's raining right now, Eccles.
I said, trying to sound steady with a blade still hovering near my collar.
Just what are you doing?
Then quieter.
No, wait, could you put that away first? It's cold here.
I added because it was easier than admitting my heart was pounding. He blinked, silent for a beat. Then low, almost apologetic.
My lady.
He dropped to his knees right there in the mud.
I'm sorry I turned a weapon on you.
His voice cracked on the next part.
Please punish me.
I just stood there, rain soaking through my sleeves, staring at a boy who genuinely believed an accident deserved a beating. Something in my chest twisted before I could stop it. My grip tightened around that wooden sword, still warm from his hands. So this is the scene I'm looking at. In the game, this exact spot killed the villainess in some absurd, pointless way, and I'd have needed resets to survive it. Watching him kneel, I had one question. What would he call me? Some arrogant bitch who bought a broken man and left him no choice but to bow.
Just how can I say that?
Even after nearly getting my throat opened by a wooden sword, I still couldn't manage the real words.
Eccles.
Slipped out instead, my grip tightening on the wood.
Are you being harassed? There's no reason for the Duke to have knights training in this downpour.
Then I saw it.
You're drenched.
He said nothing.
Say it.
I pressed.
Tell me who dared make. No one told me to.
Ickley said when I asked who gave the order for training in the pouring rain. Pushed further, he admitted the truth.
I just wanted to be accepted as a full-time knight quickly enough to protect you. That's why I was training by myself.
The confession undid me.
I'm proud of you.
I said and meant it.
You deserve a reward for training that hard.
I said and asked if tents should go up so people could drill through the rain, or if there was something else he wanted more. Then came the memory of his broken sword, snapped clean in our last spar.
I'll buy you a new one.
I told him.
A proper weapon, or I'll find you a blacksmith myself. My lady, I just want to meet you more often.
Ickley said I hadn't visited him once since we arrived, and he'd noticed.
I thought you'd forgotten about me.
He admitted something in his eyes made me laugh, short and hollow. He was a killing machine who could tear a person apart at will, wearing a mask in front of me just as I wore mine as his doting owner. He could pretend to be my obedient dog to survive, but I'd picked up a wolf in sheep's clothing. Thinking the Ickley's route was safe had been stupid of me. I hadn't bargained for the game's hard mode. Still, I couldn't stop, no matter how much I wanted to.
You can meet me as much as you want,
he said.
But you're going to catch a cold, Ickley's.
I answered.
Stop your training for today, that's an order.
I told him.
My lady.
He answered, startled, then quieter.
You're not going to punish me, I almost hurt you.
In the game, this scene had never ended with a bruise. It ended with me dead. I kept that thought behind my teeth.
Only foolish owners punish their loyal knights over something so petty, Ickley's.
I said instead.
It wasn't on purpose, right?
I almost asked, watching my one loyal escort, a boy never once allowed to stand up for himself or be forgiven for anything. Fortunately, I didn't wait for an answer. I turned and walked away, leaving him kneeling in the mud behind me. My breath came out ragged, gasping in the downpour.
The Ickley's route isn't safe after all.
I admitted to myself. The storm rolled on through that night, and so did my nerves. Whatever answer Ickley's owed me could wait until morning. Right then, I had another thread to pull, one I'd set in motion days before at the palace. A maid brought back the reply to the inquiry I'd sent out, and I tore into the letter.
Is this all?
I asked. She said the information brokers needed more to work with. All they'd been given was a male aristocrat who dropped his handkerchief at the second prince's birthday banquet, too vague to point at anyone. She offered to try another circle.
No,
I told her.
This is enough.
4 leads, 3 answers. That's what Emily brought me on the information I'd sent her chasing.
There's no response from only one of them.
I said, picturing that grinning rabbit mask of his. Why wasn't he biting? Without him, this whole route stalled.
Should I go there again?
Emily asked. It's fine, I said.
Did you pay them properly?
Emily confirmed the payment.
Yes, I sent jewels to them as you ordered. Good job.
I said she'd earned it. I told her to keep whatever jewels were left as a reward. She froze.
Pardon.
Then panic.
And no, my lady, I'll clean it up and bring it all to you. Do you not like jewels, then gold? No.
Tears welled.
I don't hope for anything, my lady.
Then Emily asked to become my personal maid. I reminded her she was already my special maid. I couldn't offer more. That was when she broke.
I was wrong. I committed a sin against you. A noble talked me into hurting you.
She pressed the needle into my hand.
Keep it. If you can't trust me, bring it to the Duchess.
It played out like a question in my head. Was this one of the game's programmed episodes? There's no bonus for staying loyal to a villainess who's only an aristocrat in name. I knew that better than anyone. Fear of the needle was supposed to be why she stayed obedient, not choice. But her face wasn't the face of someone lying.
Well then,
I said, and let the thought hang.
Put all the jewels back where they originally were.
I told her. Emily's eyes went wide.
My lady.
Then she caught what I meant and lit up.
Thank you, I'll do that right away. All right, you can go.
I said.
Yes.
She practically glowed on her way out.
I will tend to you with my best, Lady Penelope.
Did she reform, or was I overthinking it? None of this would hold up back home, but here, no harm in loyalty. The system agreed. My standing with the duchy's staff rose, fame up 10, 15 total. Winter, the Marquis hiding behind a merchant's mask, had to reveal himself first before I could move, and chasing a man I'd met once at the palace felt strange. Would I need to put in the kind of time Ivan had if he never answered? Turning it over, I stood at the window, staring out, when something ripped through the glass without warning. Every muscle locked up.
What was that?
Wind and glass tore past my face, my hair whipping wild in the blast.
What is it?
I shouted over the roar, bracing myself, then everything went still. Slowly I lowered my hand, eyes narrowing at whatever had just forced its way into my room. I hadn't even seen it yet. The glass was still ringing in my ears when I froze.
What?
Left my mouth as I stared at the mess on the floor. Then something went Caillou, and I nearly jumped out of my skin. Turns out it wasn't a monster, just a small white rabbit blinking up at me and tilting its head like it expected an answer. Asking a wild rabbit how it got in, carried on the wind maybe, made me laugh at myself.
What would I even do if you understood me and answered?
I muttered, then a voice I didn't know yelled, "Abort." A face flickered into view just long enough to say, "Just kidding," before vanishing again. Talking animals were apparently his idea of discretion. Still, I figured one of my 5 suitors should be someone I could stand. A system window flagged it, a new episode, the suspicious Marquis Winter Verdandi. I grabbed a thank you gift and jewels for his fee, threw on a robe and mask, and found the door from the game, carved with a rabbit. Something in the shadows was already watching. The office was empty.
Did he go somewhere? I came the second I got the message.
I said no staff, which explained the rabbit. I sat to wait, and the room lurched. Not an earthquake outside stayed calm. This was happening only inside these walls. Glowing lines traced a shape in the air, exactly like the doors from fantasy movies.
Is Winter behind this?
I said there was no handle. A system window blinked open, a hidden quest. Reveal the magician's secrets, enter his secret location. I hesitated, snooping felt wrong, but the last hidden quest I'd cleared was the reward that kept me alive this far.
It's a reward, not a penalty.
I told myself.
I came this far, I'm at least looking.
I said yes and stepped into a hall bigger than the building had any right to be. The noise was coming from the end of the hall. "You idiot, I told you to hit that." A voice snapped and I froze. It wasn't Winter's voice at all. "L like this?" someone else asked. "No like this. Kids, actual children bickering somewhere inside this place. What was going on in here?" Then I saw it and everything clicked.
This place is...
I started and stopped, stunned. Now the hall looked exactly like a museum.
Awesome, it's so cool here.
I said, grinning despite myself. Then the system pinged, a rare item found, an ancient magician's relic tied to Winter somehow. Before I could touch it, ice cracked open nearby. A pack of hooded kids tumbled through, cheering. We did it. Careful, if that thing's damaged, Master will kill us. Young magicians, his students, apparently. A relic. If these kids blasted that ice again, they wouldn't just wreck it, they'd wreck whatever was sealed inside. Guys, stop. I shouted, and every head snapped toward me. An old woman's mask, one yelped.
I'm not an old woman.
I said.
I'm a guest of the circle. Who are you people?
We're Master's stud, one started before another elbowed him quiet. Kids, still my weakness. The hammer stopped inches from the box when I threw myself between them.
Enough, stop, let's all keep silent.
This wasn't just ice, I told them. It was a precious relic they were about to wreck. One kid argued their teacher left the tools for this. So why hadn't the ice cracked yet then, if hitting it actually worked?
Give me that,
I said. The trick was patience. Smash it and the spell just stitched itself back within 30 seconds.
You need to crack it by hand.
I told them.
Warm it with your own magic and it won't take long.
I handed off the awl, careful it never touched the box. Hours later, I was still standing there, tired, wondering how babysitting was in my job description. The kids finally slumped over, spent but proud. The box hadn't taken a scratch. Then one of them spotted my mask and froze.
Who are you?
No ordinary person finds this hall, and the obvious guess came fast. Was I a magician too? Before I could answer, a system window flickered open, a heart-shaped gauge ticking down, my favorability meter dropping. A masked figure stepped between us and the students, Winter, running his own sanctum with the same careful control he ran everything else. He turned the young magicians toward the door before they could ask another question, reminding them plainly that whatever they'd seen tonight stayed inside these walls. One by one, they filed out, throwing me nothing but curious glances on the way. Once the students were gone, it was just the two of us, and the gauge kept sinking, 3% and falling. None of this was my doing, and his suspicion stung more than I expected.
Please come this way,
he said.
This is no place for a quiet conversation.
Past the same kids waving their goodbyes, I followed him, wondering how much trouble I'd walked into.
Thank you for indulging my students,
he said once we were alone, voice low behind the mask. No client request brought me here, I told him flatly.
I got a message from the White Rabbit.
He went quiet for a second too long, then admitted he sends that message out constantly, never expecting anyone to actually show up twice. Then the gauge jumped, 65% and climbing, like something I'd said had actually worked in my favor.
I'd like to make it up to you,
he told me, quieter now.
But there's a way to do that with your memories.
I didn't like where that sentence was going.
So the quality of my apology,
he went on,
depends on how much of tonight you're willing to forget. What exactly,
I asked,
are you trying to say?
He didn't dodge it.
Please keep what you saw here today a secret,
he said.
In exchange, I'll give you all the information you need, free of cost.
No games, no client fee, just a straight trade, my silence for anything I wanted to know. I stood there a second too long before I answered. Winter Verdandi looked at me and made his offer plain.
I'll give you all the information you need, regarding what you want, free of cost.
Nothing in this world came free, so I asked what he actually wanted from me. He answered with history instead, a bloodline of magicians hunted out of their own country, hiding here ever since, the same group behind that sealed relic I just helped him crack open. It hit me again, staring into the cup he'd poured. This world felt nothing like the game I used to play.
So please, my lady,
he said, sliding it toward me like the matter was already settled. Then his voice dropped.
Keep this a secret, those children's lives are at stake.
Somewhere above those rabbit ears, a number ticked, tracking exactly how he felt about me in real time.
A good impression,
Winter said like the words tasted foreign in his mouth. He told me about a mage everyone praised as kind, a man who'd taken in a house full of orphans, then pivoted straight to me. The day Penelope turned of age, someone spread a rumor about jewelry that never existed just to make her look like a thief.
If I started rumors like that,
he asked flatly,
what would you do?
His voice went cold.
The questionable standing of a certain client right now would also be at stake.
That was when it landed. This had never been a request. It was a warning aimed straight at a fake Cinderella who didn't belong in this story. And for the first time since I'd woken up in this body, no choices appeared for me to pick from, just silence. We traded barbs after that until he pressed something into my hand, a crest stamped with a fox and a rabbit, his mark, in case I ever needed to reach him again. Above his head, that hidden number sat frozen at 15%.
Well, it doesn't matter anymore,
he said, turning away. Somewhere behind us in the dark, someone else had been watching, and all they managed to say was one word: what?
Thank you for looking after those kids tonight.
I told him and meant it.
No,
He said.
I'm the one who got exactly the spot I wanted, out of the spotlight for once.
Then flatly,
I'm a magician. I can do things ordinary people can't. If you ever need something like that done, you know where to find me.
right then the system pinged. Hidden quest complete. Reveal the magician's secret. Reward received. I hadn't expected to make it home after burning through every ounce of luck at that party. The guard stopped me cold. Please show me your identity card, he said, patrols checking anyone suspicious before the festival got out of hand. My pulse spiked. One of the duchy's own guards, and getting caught out here again would be bad. Then a shout cut through. Leader, you're here. A night leader had arrived, one of his men already pointing my way. He looked straight at me, eyes narrowing, and breathed out one word. You. That mask hadn't fooled him one bit. I didn't wait to find out what came next.
Ugh, whatever,
I shouted, bolting, skirts flaring behind me as I tore into the dark and left him standing there, stunned. A scream tore through the street and everyone looked but me. I ran until I found his door.
For now, please close the door and come in,
he said. I asked for one favor: get me to Hamilton Street before the crowd swallowed it.
Everyone's got at least one secret.
I told him when he asked why I'd come alone. He offered his hand.
You may get a bit dizzy.
The teleport hit like a drop in my stomach, gone before I could brace. He was holding my hand, so I let go first.
Thanks for helping me,
I said.
It's nothing. I'm glad I could repay the debt.
He said.
You've earned my trust.
I told him.
Will you visit our circle again? Who knows?
I answered and watched him go quiet. Then the spell thudded me down, alone. Somewhere behind me, I heard the rabbit's voice ask Winter,
if I deliver the item and hear his answer, can I bring that answer back to you? No,
Winter said. I didn't wait to hear more. I was in the dark, hunting for the gap in the wall I'd slipped out through, when a voice behind me said my name.
Penelope Eckhart, so I was right.
Derek Eckhart, the Duke's cold eldest son, cut off Eccles before he could answer.
I let you go to the festival. I stayed quiet about the stranger you brought, so what are you so unhappy about?
Eccles only bowed.
I'm sorry, young master. I'll take whatever punishment you give. That's all you ever ask for,
Derek said.
Do you like it that much?
Then he grabbed my arm.
Follow me.
Something didn't feel right, and I couldn't tell what he was after.
Young master, where are we going?
I asked nothing, just silence and his back ahead of me. My luck had officially run out for the day. Should I drop to my knees and beg? Even hating a fake sibling, I doubted Derek would draw a sword on me, unlike a certain someone I could name. Whatever the real Penelope might have felt, none of it touched me. Then I recognized the ground under my boots.
Wait, isn't this the Duke's private trail? Why here?
He said nothing, just climbed, and I scrambled after him, breath tearing, wondering if he meant to talk or something stranger.
If you walk that fast, I can't keep up,
I said. He slowed down. I hadn't expected that.
Come here,
Derek said.
Look at the bottom of the hill.
I did, and the whole city opened up under me, lit gold for the festival, alive in a way no loading screen ever managed. This is just one scene from a game, I told myself, except it didn't feel like one anymore. Then his voice cut through it.
Look at that, Penelope. Is that a pickpocket? It's everywhere,
he said.
In every corner of this city you don't see worse things than pickpockets. There was a murder at a bar on Hamilton Street yesterday, though you wouldn't know that, locked up in your room the way you are.
I kept my face still. That was the exact street Winter had dropped me on the night before. Derek Eckhart wasn't done with me.
You don't get to decide my reputation,
he said.
It depends on my every act.
That was exactly why I'd worn a mask, I told him. He wasn't buying it.
What if someone had recognized you?
Someone at the palace had helped me once, I finally admitted, and I'd gone back to say thank you. He studied me a long moment, thinking that my reputation needed to change if it was going to survive people like him. Then he said my name for once, plain and direct.
Penelope, you're an adult now,
He said,
so if you don't have a plan, don't just wander off without one.
then quieter.
What about the punishment?
He held something small and round out to me, plain white, catching the last of the snow.
That's today's punishment.
He said, no lecture, no scolding tone left in it, just that and the quiet after it. Reynold held out a bracelet, refusing to look at me straight.
This was made with magic.
He said,
Put it on and it hides how you look, ages you up so no one asks questions.
the stones, he admitted, weren't even the original ones.
You always liked flashy, expensive things.
He said,
You stole half my jewelry box as a kid.
he wouldn't meet my eyes as he said it.
If you don't like it,
He started, then just shrugged the rest out.
throw it away.
The bracelet dropped from his fingers anyway, like he wanted me to catch it more than he wanted to admit giving it. A window flashed in front of me. Event cleared, favorability gained with Penelope Eckhart. Derek's favor climbed too, and I'd walked away with an actual magic bracelet for my trouble. It was the last night of the festival. One of the maids caught me at the door.
You're really going through with this. Your parents won't even be there.
Something in the hallway light caught me off guard.
Really?
Was all I managed. The corridor ahead sat empty, warm light spilling across the floor, like whatever was coming hadn't quite arrived yet. It had been a long time since I'd landed in this world, and some nights I still kept score on paper, favorability numbers scratched next to every name I was supposed to be falling for. Prince Kaizen barely registered on the page, then a maid found me in the hall.
The Duke wishes for you to join him for lunch.
A luncheon that I hadn't planned for at all. Fennel found me before I could vanish into my room.
The Duke hasn't shared a meal with you in a long time.
He said,
He's asked me to bring you to the dining hall.
would my brothers be joining, I asked.
Of course.
He said, so before I walked in, I pulled him aside.
Have an excuse ready to pull me out if it goes bad. Yes, my lodi.
Scenes like this I'd given up on already, the clink of cutlery, brothers trading small talk over a meal that didn't need me in it. Back then I just watched from outside the door. This time a voice cut straight through that old memory.
Lady Penelope.
It pulled me back into my own body, sitting right there at the table. Behind me, the staff were already placing bets on whether I'd last through the meal, murmuring that my almost brothers still hadn't warmed to me at all. None of it got an answer from me.
Let's eat.
I said instead and sat down. Their whole lives ran on a different track than mine, and I wasn't about to lose to people I'd already decided I owed nothing. Not a word from the Duke yet. His whole expression had gone flat and sharp, precise as the blade he was running across his plate, like he was deciding something far bigger than lunch. My hands slipped and red wine bled across the cloth before I could catch it.
Is something wrong?
Someone asked.
Don't mind me.
I said and went back to pushing food around a plate I couldn't taste. That whole meal, I'd spent pretending not to notice how easily they forgot I was there, and I was done swallowing it.
You should get out before the festival ends, Penelope. Not interested,
I said. Probation was still there to hide behind, or so I assumed.
Tusk, you've been using that probation as an excuse for far too long.
Reynolds snapped.
This is the first time I've seen a goody two-shoes serve herself probation over one slave bastard.
I let it land, then the real reason for this luncheon came out.
The reason I told you all to gather here is for the approaching hunting competition.
The Duke said. That word sat in the air a second before anyone moved. Hunting competition. Coming from him, offhand like that, it didn't sound like a game at all, and I already knew none of us were leaving that table until I understood exactly what he meant by it. Hunting competition, Derek asked, actually looking up for once. The Duke laid it out, staged in the forest north of the palace, and this year's placing would matter more than usual with the Crown Prince himself competing. House Eckhart usually sat these out. This year we wouldn't, and somewhere in that guest list was Callisto, Crown Prince of Aerka, which meant this was never just about deer. A hunting competition doesn't sound like much until you know who's actually being hunted, and I'm not missing what that setup turns into. The next chapter drops tomorrow, and subscribing is how it finds you first. My whole body flinched before I even knew why.
Penelope,
The chair nearly went out from under me.
why yes, the council held its vote. Your participation prohibition is lifted.
Ranald wasn't finished.
Hand her tools back after what she pulled last time.
He listed it like a rap sheet, the weapon she demanded, the threat to kill a noblewoman, the royal guard hauling her off in chains. My father cut him off.
You remember House Eckhart doesn't air its business in public, Penelope. Of course, I won't disappoint you this time, father. Good, this ends here.
He turned without another word, robes snapping around him, and lifted a small silver bell off the table. One thin ring cut through the quiet. That was it. The meeting was over. Back in the kitchen, I found Donna back from leave. She'd matched the tea and cookies to everyone's taste, except mine came out stone cold. The one person who knew every palate in this house had gotten mine wrong on purpose. A blade slipped from her hand and hit the floor by my feet.
Sorry my hand slipped. She said, pick it up.
I told her.
Of course.
The real Penelope used to sit through these same dinners feeling invisible, mocked for every wrong word, too afraid of losing even a scrap of family to ever walk out. Not me. I let my fork slip on purpose. Tusk, you're so clumsy, Reynolds said. Sorry, this pudding's so slippery my cutlery keeps sliding off, I said. Someone at the table told me not to worry about it, if you were stuck wearing Penelope's crimes. Would you keep groveling like she did for 6 years, or start fumbling the cutlery like I just did?